Master G.
I'm so overwhelmed, humbled, and just honored and very thankful, that the Knicks took the chance with me, that they believed in me, and I'm so happy to be a Knick, and I can't wait to play in Madison Square Garden.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. We just watched the New York Knicks draft RJ Barrett and Ignas Brazdeikis with the number 3 and 47 pick of the 2019 NBA draft. Let's break it down, get into it a little bit, and talk about what it means for the New York Knicks. Now let's begin with RJ Barrett. He's a small forward, 6'7", 202 pounds. In his one and only season at Duke, a freshman, and he was 18 years old because he just turned 19. He averaged 22.6 points per game, 7.6 rebounds per game, 4.3 assists per game, and he shot 45.4% from the field. Now, he shot 30.8% from 3 and 66.5% from the stripe. That leaves him something to work on. Now let's take a look at what RJ brings to the Knicks. First and foremost, he has great physical attributes. He has things that you can't teach: speed, quickness, strength. He's an instinctive scorer. He's a crafty finisher around the rim. He has a high basketball IQ. And something that I really like is he's a decent on-ball defender and has the ability to get better. He also has the alpha dog mentality. He wants the ball when the game is on the line. He's not afraid to be the scapegoat. He wants to be that man, and he wants New York. Now let's talk about what he can improve. He can improve his shooting form, especially from long distance. He's left-handed. Although he claims to be right-handed, he shoots with his left. He plays primarily with his left, so he needs to work on his right hand. His ball handle is kind of high, kind of loose, so he needs to work on tightening it up. And because he has that alpha dog mentality, RJ can get caught up playing a little bit of hero ball. But you know what? He's 19 years old. He's a young kid. He can learn. Let's talk about Ignas Brazdeikis, or we can call him Iggy. The Knicks acquired Iggy with the 47th pick. You're probably wondering, well, how did the Knicks get the 47th pick? They traded the 55th pick in cash considerations to the Sacramento Kings for the 47th pick. Then they drafted Iggy. So let's take a look at the scouting report, break down his game, get into it a little bit. He's 6'7", 220 pounds, plays small forward. In one season at Michigan, he averaged 14.6 points per game, 5.4 rebounds, 0.8 assists. He shot 46.2% from the field, 39.2% from 3, and 77.3% from the free throw line. He's a natural scorer, a good three-point shooter, has a really good feel for the game, but most of all, he has a fierce attitude. That's the type of thing we really need on this Knicks team. Players that have that grittiness, that attitude, that toughness. Iggy's gonna bring it. But he has some development to do. He lacks the length and the foot speed on the defensive end. So there's some concern on whether or not he's gonna be able to guard NBA small forwards. He also needs to improve his court vision and playmaking skills. He's another one of those guys that sometimes get looked over, go low in the draft. But he has the drive, the willingness, the fierce attitude to turn himself into a contributing factor on a good team. Not to mention he shoots almost 40%, from the three-point line, and the Knicks will need shooters to spread the floor on this team. Scott Perry, Steve Mills, they seem to do a good job of plucking guys out of the weeds, guys that might get looked over for whatever the reasons are. Let's see if they do it again. Let's see if Iggy can find his way on this team. For the second year in a row, the Knicks have done well in the draft, and it's unusual for this team. That signifies a change in the mentality, in the culture of our management team. We drafted Iggy with the 47th pick. He's a young man that I believe will have a future in the NBA because he's a hard worker and he has a chip on his shoulder. He's intense. He's determined to be successful. And then with RJ, wasn't it a beautiful thing? A beautiful thing to hear the fans cheer when his name was called. It is time. It is time. He wants New York. New York wants him. He is a foundational piece. Hopefully, he is a franchise player. His grandfather predicted it, that he was going to play for the Knicks.
The way I've grown from last year to now is amazing, and I've had so many people in my corner help me. My late grandfather, rest in peace, he was the biggest Knicks fan. You know, we used to watch the Knicks growing up, and he'd always tell me that I was going to be a Knick. And, you know, it's sad that he can't be here to see it, but I'm just very happy, man. My mom pushed me. My mom actually pushed my dad to train me. My dad knows, you know, what it takes to play at this level. Every day I had to walk in the house and walk past my dad's jersey framed on the wall, you know, because he was an Olympian. So I'm like, all right, I haven't done anything yet. So, you know, I just have so many people in my life to humble me.
Yeah, I give the Knicks an A for the draft, and the A is for, you know, not trying to go out of bounds, not trying to do too much, doing exactly what they needed to do. You know, they did a little bit in trading up to get Iggy because they thought they'd seen something and thought they found something with Iggy. And I think a lot of us agree that Iggy is, you know, maybe could be one of the steals of the draft. All right, so, you know, big shout out to the Knicks for that. I think they did a very good job, you know, just staying grounded in the draft and not trying to do too much, you know, doing exactly what they needed to do. Now let's talk about free agency, because this is where the conversation is going to come in. Free agency. Obviously, the big thing for this year's free agency was that the Knicks had cap space so that they could sign 2 players at the very least, and if they were smart and slick enough, could make some trades so that they could bring in 3 players. That was the talk for free agency, right? That was the talk. That was everything. That the Knicks will have the ability to bring in 2 max free agents. And everybody knows who those 2 max free agents were. Right? Those 2 max free agents were Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. That was the talk. That was everything. That was everything. And so everything that happens with the Knicks free agency is looked at in the scope of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. And what you're looking at on the screen right now, if you're just joining us, this is our offseason report card for the New York Knicks. I'm about to go ahead and bring that off the screen because we're going to get back to it shortly. But everything that happened in free agency is really looked at through the lens and scope of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, which maybe is unfair for the New York Knicks. And here's the reason why I say that. Because everyone continues to say that the Knicks were selling to the league, selling the fans, selling to everyone that they were getting Kevin Durant, that they were getting Kyrie Irving. And they say that off of one statement by Jim Dolan. And the statement by Jim Dolan was this. He said, everything that I've heard and everything that I know, we'll be doing very well in free agency. Okay, and of course, and yes, he probably was talking about Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, or maybe somebody else, but he was talking about one of those star players. But that's what he said. Everything that he knows, everything that he's heard, that was all that he said. And from that, everybody says that the Knicks were leading the fans on, that the Knicks were telling the fans that this is who they were getting in free agency. And it wasn't the case. It just wasn't the truth. Because I do not know how many times Scott Perry, Steve Mills went public and told everybody, cool it, cool down, relax. Because if we don't get these guys, we are very, very cool with just building. How many times did they have to say that? They said it a lot of times, but the media don't hear that. The media doesn't hear that. Not the national media. They didn't hear that at all. The only thing that they took is that the Knicks were trying to get Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. That Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving were going to New York. They planned to go to New York. It was going to be New York. That's what they took from everything. And it just wasn't the truth. Just wasn't the truth. Now, maybe if the Knicks had some other things in place, maybe it does happen. I don't know. But the context of the Knicks free agency is wrapped around those two players coming or not coming to the Knicks and going to Brooklyn. All right, so that's the context of the Knicks free agency. And that's the context that most other people outside of New York Knicks fans are looking at this context or looking at the Knicks in that context. But I don't care about that. Right? I want to look at it through reality and what the Knicks did. And we're going to talk about what the Knicks did. All right, we're really going to take and we're going to look at it. What I'm going to look at right now, we're going to take a minute and we're just going to look at and we're going to go over some of the free agents that the Knicks signed. All right, so let's start with the big guy, the guy that could possibly be a star, that we hope could be a star in the coming years. Listen, he's going to be on the Knicks for at least 2 years, possibly 3 years. And you know who we're talking about? We're talking about Julius Randle. Right? And Julius Randle's had, we talked about him plenty of times before. Julius Randle had his best season last year. Okay, best season last year. And the Knicks signed the man 3 years, $64 million with a third-year team option. Okay, third-year team option, which is very, very good, in my opinion. Let's take a look at Julius Randle. Let's talk about him just a little bit. And I'm going to run through everybody. The only one I don't have up is Morris. I don't have that one, but, we'll talk about him still. Julius Randle is from Kentucky, drafted in 2014. He was drafted with the 7th pick of the first round. He's 24 years old. His birthday is 11/29/1994. Last season with the New Orleans Pelicans, he averaged 21.4 points per game, 8.7 rebounds, 3.1 assists. He shot 52.4% from the field, 34.4% from three, and he shot 73.1% from the free throw line. A career year for Julius Randle. He's a power forward, 6'9", 250 pounds. 3 years, $64 million with an option in the third year. And that's important. Just remember that. That's very important. That means he's on the books for 2019, 2020, 2020, 2021. And then there's a team option for 2021, 2022. Remember that about Julius Randle. Okay? Just remember that. And then after Julius Randle, we got Taj Gibson. Taj Gibson, he's been in the league for a while. He's a crafty vet. Been in the league for a while. He's another power forward. He's 6'9", 232 pounds. Went to Southern Cal. He was drafted in 2009. 26th pick of the first round. He's 34 years old. Last season with the Minnesota Timberwolves, Taj Gibson averaged 10.8 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, 1.2 assists. He shot 56.6% from the field, 32.4% from three, and he shot 75.7% from the free throw line. Taj Gibson is tough. Taj Gibson doesn't back down. Taj Gibson is grizzled. He is exactly what the Knicks needed on his team. Exactly. I love the pickup. Hold up. Let me back up. Let me stop lying to you. At first, I was a little bit like, I'm not sure. I was. But then when I thought about it a little bit, I understood. 2 years, $20 million. Could it have been a little bit different? Maybe it could have been a little bit cheaper. How much of a market was there for Taj Gibson? I don't know, but there could have been a nice market for Taj Gibson. I'm not going to say there wasn't. There could have been a nice market for Taj Gibson. Now, especially a championship team, I can guarantee you this. The Lakers might have looked towards him. And the Knicks did a good job of snatching up some of these role players, man. The Lakers may have looked towards him if he was still available, based on everything that the Lakers did. So we got Taj Gibson. 2 years, $20 million. There's a team option in that second year. So that means he's going to get $10 million in 2019, 2020. That's this upcoming season. He's going to get, and then there's a team option for the 2020, 2021 season. Now, the Knicks may pick up the option. They may not pick up the option. But it leaves them flexible. And it also makes him a trade chip. It makes him a trade chip. Because he's an expiring contract that the team will have an option whether they want to keep or not. So that's a nice trade chip that the Knicks have. Because people know what Taj Gibson is. If he comes in and he plays, he gets another 10.6 rebounds a game. People are going to expect that from him. He's a good trade chip. He'll be a good trade chip. Now let's talk about Bobby Portis. Another guy the Knicks signed. The Knicks signed Bobby Portis. He's another power forward, but he's also 6'11", so he can play some centers. By the way, Taj Gibson can also play center. Okay? He can also play some center. Bobby Portis, 6'11", 250 pounds. He played at Arkansas. He was drafted in 2015. Pick number 22, round 1. He's 24 years old. Last season with the Washington Wizards, he averaged 14.2 points per game, 8.1 rebounds per game, 1.4 assists. He shot 44.4% from the field and 39.3% from three, which is just super duper important. Because if the Knicks are going to have lanes for guys like Dennis Smith Jr., Alonzo Trier, right? We picked up Elfrid Payton. If the Knicks are going to have lanes for these guys to penetrate, we're going to need guys that can shoot the basketball. And Bobby Portis is a guy that can shoot the ball. He shot 39.3% from the three-point line. That's big-time efficiency. He signed for 2 years, $31 million. Okay? And there's an option for the second year once again. So he's getting $15.5 million a year, something like that. I don't know how the contract actually splits up. So he'll be on the books for 1920 for sure. And then if the Knicks don't like him for the 2020, 2021, they can let him go. If they like him, they can keep him. Another option. There's another team option. But listen, Bobby Portis, just a little story, just talking about Bobby Portis real quick. He's changed his diet. He really is. He's on a health food kick. He's trying to make sure his body is right. His body is in shape. He's only 24 years old. He's another one of these guys that could possibly elevate his game. Elfrid Payton. The Knicks signed Elfrid Payton. Point guard. 6'4", 185 pounds. He went to Louisiana. He was drafted in 2014. He was drafted in the first round, pick number 10. He's 25 years old. Last season with the New Orleans Pelicans. And listen, I like the fact that he played with the Pelicans last year because Julius Randle played with the Pelicans last year. So they have a little bit of chemistry already that they can bring to the team. And going back to Bobby Portis real quick, he's one of the reasons why I would like to get a Bradley Beal because they played together last season as well. I'm not going to go too far into that because that's beyond this, but you can go back and look at that last video, where I talked about Bradley Beal. But anyway, he averaged 10.6 points per game, 5.2 rebounds, 7.6 assists. He shot 43.4% from the field last season, 31.4% from three, 74.3% from the free throw line. I'd love for him to get that 3-point shot up, to get his 3-point percentage up. That would be beautiful. We'll see if he can. But the guy can get triple doubles. That's what I like about him. And he plays defense. He's not afraid to play deep. Now, what happens with Frank Ntilikina now that we've got Elfrid Payton and we got Dennis Smith Jr., we'll see. But you want to get as much talent you can in the training camp, and then you work it out from there. The guy had 5 straight triple-doubles last year. 5 straight triple-doubles. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to. I like him, and his contract is decent. 2 years, $16 million, and of course, there's an option for that second year. So once again, there's another option for that second year. I mean, if you look at, the flexibility that the Knicks kept is incredible to me. Some of these guys, I believe, could have gotten longer contracts, but, they chose not to. But also, these guys are looking to, cement their careers and show that they can be starters in this league. Some of these guys. Next, we're going to talk about Wayne Ellington. Another sharpshooter, right? Wayne Ellington. He's a shooting guard, 6'5", 200 pounds. He's also a vet. Went to the University of North Carolina, drafted in 2009. Pick number 28, round 1. He's 31 years old. Last season with the Pistons, he averaged 10.3 points per game, 2 rebounds, 1.4 assists. He shot 40% from the field, but he shot 37% from 3. And again, that's what we want. We want guys that can shoot the 3. He shot 79.6% from the free throw line. The Knicks gave him a contract, 2 years, $16 million. 2 years, $16 million. And of course, there's a team option in the second year. So if you pay attention, I want to bring this over to me real quick. And we'll get to, some of the other guys at the Knicks sign. But I want to get this. I just want you guys to pay attention to how things could look in this off season. I mean, how they did things in this offseason. If you pay attention, we went over Taj Gibson, $10 million, team option for the second year. Bobby Portis, he's going to get $15.5 million this year. Right, so that's $25 million that the Knicks are going to pay in 1920. Okay, Elfrid Payton, that's $8 million for 1920. Right, so that right there is $33 million. Another $8 million to Wayne Ellington. Right, so you're into $30-something million right there of contracts that you could move if you wanted to because they're all expiring deals. So I know, we talk about some people, and we'll talk about it a little bit with Nick. We talked about bringing in and taking in some of these expiring contracts so that we can get first round picks. But when you look at these deals, I'm not going to put it out of the realm of possibility that the Knicks could still pull in first round picks with these players or other players because of the way that these deals are structured. I think it was a very, very smart move for the Knicks to structure these deals this way, and they did a very good job. Very good job. I think it was it took a lot of planning, in my opinion. So what it tells me is that when the Knicks went into free agency, they didn't just have their heart set on one thing. They clearly knew that there was a possibility, a big possibility probably, that they weren't going to get Kevin Durant. They weren't going to get Kyrie Irving. And so they had plans in place. And that's what really pisses me off with some of these people that talk about the Knicks. Because how can you not see the plan? That's what I don't get. How can you not see those plans? I don't understand it because those plans were pretty clear. It was pretty clear what the Knicks were doing and wanted to do with what they did in free agency as their backup plan. Smart backup plan. They didn't commit money to guys that didn't deserve the money, right? They didn't give, everybody, the big name out there was always Tobias Harris. I don't want to give Tobias Harris, a max contract, da-da-da-da-da. And I got it. I understood it. Neither did I. I didn't want to give a max contract to guys that didn't deserve a max contract. And they didn't do that, right? They didn't do that. They were smart about it. They were strategic about the way that they handled their business. That's what I like. And then, announced just recently, the Knicks signed Reggie Bullock and they signed Marcus Morris. All right. Reggie Bullock is on a 2-year, $8 million deal. Marcus Morris is getting $15 million for 1 season. And again, there's short deals that the Knicks can get out of those deals. Okay. They can get out of these deals. Now, Reggie Bullock was going to sign with the Knicks, right? He was going to sign with the Knicks for like 2 years. I forgot what it was, maybe $15 million or something like that. It was something like that Reggie Bullock was going to sign with the Knicks. But then what happened is Reggie Bullock ended up with, I guess he has something with, Reggie Bullock was 2 years, $21 million. Reggie Bullock, by the way, last season, Reggie Bullock averaged 11.3 points per game, 2.7 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 41% from the field, and he shot 37% from 3. That was Reggie Bullock last season. The Knicks renegotiated his contract because, he has a disc issue in his back, and it was going to prevent him from being able to play the entire season. So the Knicks renegotiated the contract, and once they renegotiated his contract, they were able to give Marcus Morris a $15 million deal for 1 season. Marcus Morris, both of these guys are young vets in the league. I think Reggie Bullock, I believe, is 28 years old. Yeah, he's 28 years old. Marcus Morris is 29 years old. So these guys are young vets that's been around the league. But they're young enough to be around if the Knicks get good in a year or two. If you're talking about some guys coming in, they're young enough to still be here and still be part of that squad. So that's the off season for the New York Knicks. Again, just recently, the Knicks went ahead and inked Reggie Bullock and Marcus Morris. That's the off season for the Knicks. That's what we have. I want to know what you think about what the Knicks did this off season. I want to know how you feel. I'm going to get to a phone call, then I'm going to get to the video chat. All right? Let me know how you feel about it. Caller, you're on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
What's good, Sam?
I'm
This
good,
is
man.
Emmanuel.
How you feeling, man? I'm chilling, man. Just trying
I'm
to make...
good. I'm good. You on free agency, right?
Yep. We on free agency right now. Just talking about, we're giving them a grade. What do you think they deserve for free agency?
I give them a C minus, D plus.
A C minus or a B plus? Or C, or a D plus?
D plus.
Okay, so why do you give them that?
Because I'm pessimistic about it. I think this team is too deep. If that's something that you want to, like, is there something that you could say? I don't know. I think it's too deep. And the reason why I think that is because they signed a lot of dudes to that 1+1 deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So automatically what came, like, at first I was excited about it because I was like, we got dogs. But then I started looking into it, and I'm like, yo, they gave them a lot of 1+1 deals that these guys are going to be wanting to fight for their next contract. You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
So at some point, the locker room, Fizdale's gonna have his work cut out for him in the locker room with the minutes. And if we're going by what we've seen by last season, the way he plays dudes minutes is crazy. And I don't want another Enes Kanter situation. You get what I'm saying? Like, these dudes are fighting for the next contract. They're going to want minutes. And then how is that going to play out with the development of the rookies as well? I mean, with the young guys as well. So, like, with all that being said, is like, I don't know what's going to, like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, how is this going to look? Like, for example, Frank is out of the rotation completely with these new signees.
Mm-hmm.
Iggy, like, if you're looking at the roster, you think, is he ever going to get any playing minutes with this roster? So it's like, yeah, you want to compete, but at the same token, you're too deep. You got so many dudes with this contract that are going to want to play for their next one. So that's when I started thinking, like, damn, maybe we should have signed somebody for a bad contract and maybe not sign at least two of these dudes and let trade 2 for 1. 2 of these dudes for one bad contract. That way, the dude with the bad contract, at least he's going to know that he's not playing for a next contract and he's not going to be as much of a problem in the locker room. But all of these guys are gonna be hungry. They're gonna want to compete.
Yeah.
So I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
No, that's definitely something that I thought about. These guys. I mean, especially you look at someone like Marcus Morris. You're paying him $15 million a year. He might be the second highest paid player on the Knicks, right?
Yeah.
Right, Marcus Morris. So I mean, if he's probably he should be starting. He's probably going to be the starter. What I don't believe that's necessarily bad for Kevin Knox. As long as he's still getting 20 to 30 minutes a game, 25 to 30 minutes a game, I think that that'll be good for Kevin Knox to have somebody to kind of grow up under and build under. Someone like a Marcus Morris that he can grow and build under. So I don't know if that's necessarily bad for Kevin Knox. Frank Ntilikina, I agree with you. I don't know where he's going to fit in when you're talking about Frank now, because at the point guard spot, you got Elfrid Payton, you got Dennis Smith Jr. At the 2 spot, you got Alonzo Trier, you got RJ Barrett. He can go to 2 or to 3. You got Damian Dotson, you got Wayne Ellington. You got a lot of guys at that shooting guard spot. At the 3 spot, of course, we just said you got Marcus Morris, you got Kevin Knox, RJ Barrett can play some 3, Frank can play some 3, Reggie Bullock, who's probably going to be out a lot of the season, but he can play some 3. So yeah, there's definitely a log jam at every single position except for center. But there's basically a log jam at every single position. I don't know how Fizdale is going to be able to work it out. But one of the things that I believe is that by the time we get to December the 15th, some of these guys are going to be trade bait. That's what I think. And they'll use some of these guys to kind of clear up the roster. That's what I'm thinking.
I think they're waiting. I think they're waiting to trade some of these dudes as well. I think that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna trade somebody. They have to. Yeah. They have to, because it's not. I don't think it's good. It's too. They're too deep. I think it's too deep.
Yeah. No. I definitely see where there's a problem in there, man. I definitely see where there can be a problem in there, because it's going to be very hard.
Dotson is not going to get no. Dotson is you don't see. I don't see much minutes for Dotson. Who else you said at that 2 spot?
I mean, you're looking at that 2 spot. You got Dotson. You got RJ Barrett. You got Alonzo Trier, Damian Dotson, Wayne Ellington. Frank Ntilikina can play some 2 if they decide to put him there. And, Frank can go from the 1 to the 2 to the 3.
It's deep. It's deep. It's going to be dudes is going to have problems, I'm telling you. That locker room, somebody's going to have to get moved. 2 people at least are going to have to get. At least that's what I'm seeing. That's how I see it.
Okay, and no one can get moved until December the 15th.
Exactly.
So no.
And I don't know who they're gonna move him for. Maybe Bradley Beal, like you said.
And
I think that would be smart. I think that would be smart because it works out for both teams. Because that way they could clear cap and start to rebuild completely. And then we got Bradley Beal along with Julius Randle.
Yeah. And
that could work for us. But if not, I don't know.
And then you can move some players to open up. You can move some players to start to open up room in the roster. I think that's part of their strategy too. If it doesn't work out, they still got these guys where they can, let some guy, at the end of the season, they can not re-up their contract, not accept not take their team option. But I think it's something that they're angling for where they could make some moves like that. They could trade somebody for a draft pick, right? Because, if you think about it, it would be perfect if they trade some of these guys for Bradley Beal. They help Washington clear cap space, right? Mm-hmm. Then in 2021, AD becomes available. We're gonna have that money. We're gonna have a max spot for him. Then we got AD, Julius, and Beal, and they all around the same age, 23, 24. So. Hey, it could work if that's what they're looking to do. It looks good, but I don't know. I don't see this being their roster moving forward for long term. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with you there, and I think we'll probably start hearing some rumors in around December, something like that. When it gets to the December 15th mark on who guys might be, who the Knicks might be looking at trading for, something like that. Someone like D'Angelo Russell could be available. I'm not.
I think Frank is going to be one. They're going to end up moving Frank, and the reason why I think they're going to end up moving him because his contract, the money ends up going up, and I don't think they're going to want to pay Frank like whatever the money it is that. For his final year of the deal. So I think they're going to end up moving him. And then that helps the next team he goes to because that gives him his bird rights. So I think they're going to end up moving Frank as well.
Yeah. The Knicks would have to give Frank a qualifying offer. Frank and Dennis Smith Jr., both of those guys get a qualifying offer at the end of the season. So the Knicks have to decide whether or not they want to give them a qualifying offer or not. Kind of like they had to do with Emmanuel Mudiay. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Hey, Emmanuel, man, appreciate the call. Thank you for rocking with me as we, juggling platforms right now. So I appreciate
no
that.
doubt.
You know what I mean? But, we're doing good with it so far, though, man. It's starting to build up. People starting to figure out where we are. You know what I mean? So I appreciate it, bro.
All right, no doubt.
All right, peace.
Peace.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, give me a call. I want to hear how you feel. Pretty soon we're going to give that grade, but I want to hear how you feel about the Knicks free agency, what they've done in free agency. Call it. You're on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's popping?
Hey, what's up, son?
Good, man. So tell me, how do you think? How do you think the Knicks did in free agency? You heard what Emmanuel was just saying, and he made some really, really good points. About signing a lot of, these one-on-one contracts, and then now you got guys who are, they're still going to be hungry because they want that contract for the next year. And if they don't perform, they don't get that contract. So if they're not getting playing time, guess what? They're angry, right? If I don't. What do you think?
I don't know if they're. I mean, I think the guys that are going to earn playing time are going to get playing time, and I don't think it's going to be. I think we're going to see some things like we didn't expect. I think some of our young guys are going to, aren't going to meet the challenge. But it's not like we're putting scrubs out there. I mean, Alfred Payton is a viable a starting caliber point guard in the NBA. Mm-hmm. I mean, Marcus Morris started a lot of games for the Celtics. He's been in the playoffs forever. I mean, Julius Randle is a star, borderline, if he plays up to his potential. Bobby Portis is another starter on decent teams, better teams than the Knicks. I mean, I think I don't like that guy's grade. He said C minus D. That's crazy. I mean, I'm not going to give us an A, but I'll give us a B, solid B.
Okay, I think he was given. I think he was given that grade. I think he was given that grade kind of based on what he was thinking about, how things could play out, and how the roster is deep. It's not so deep where you're like, oh gosh, these guys are gonna rule the NBA. You know what I'm saying? But it's deep in mediocre guys. You know what I mean? But it's deep with guys that deserve to play. And that's where Fizdale could have a problem. And I'm interested to see how Fizdale deals with that as well.
I think he's going to deal with it the way he's dealt with it we saw last year. I mean, last year he messed around with the lineup a lot. But he also sat guys. Like, he didn't – it's not like he made sure Mario got 5-10 minutes. Mario sat 5-6 games and then would come in and play. Same thing with Vonleh. Same thing with Trey Burke. Same thing, I don't even think they played Courtney Lee. I mean, I think we got I think the only guys I see who are going to get definite plus minutes are Randle and Barrett. I think the rest of them, it's earn what you can get. I mean, if Marcus Morris, Alfred Payton go out there and play above, play where they played last year, even a little bit above their heads, you can't start Kevin Knox. And Kevin Knox he hasn't earned it. I think he shouldn't have started last year.
Well, but this is what I'm going to say. Concerning last year, these are some different guys. Right? These are definitely some different guys, and I think that some of these guys you got to respect, and he's going to respect them. You're going to have some stronger. Yeah. There's going to be a lot stronger personalities in the locker room, and there's not going to be personalities like Tim Hardaway Jr., who, in my opinion, was a crybaby, a whiner. Right? It's not going to be personalities like that. These are going to be strong men in the locker room that have strong personalities, and some of them close to Fizdale's age. Fizdale's like 42, 43 years old, and you got, Taj Gibson, 34. That's not too much of a difference.
No, but I think Fizdale's, from what you hear, Fizdale's a respected guy in the league. You don't hear anything bad about Fizdale. You hear a lot of stuff bad about Dolan, which I don't think is warranted, but Fizdale always, when you hear players talk about Fizdale, they give him respect.
Yeah,
so
they do.
I don't think the respect things. I think it's good that we have some solid vets in there. I mean, Enes Kanter is a clown. Tim Hardaway Jr. is what's he doing? It's like he's not a leader. Porzingis didn't play last year. We didn't have any leaders in our locker room till DeAndre Jordan got there. We didn't have a leader in that locker room, Lance Thomas. But guys who get sweat equity. If you're if you earn it, and Lance Thomas kind of got it forced because we didn't have a four all year long. We didn't have a solid four.
And listen, I'm not necessarily talking about guys liking Fizdale, liking or disliking Fizdale. What I get from Fizdale is that Fizdale is not necessarily. I feel like Fizdale makes a lot of friends with the players. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know if this is the team. To me, this is the kind of team where you've got to be tough with these players. You know what I'm saying? Because they have strong personalities.
I think he came from that. He came from that Pat Riley system.
Well, I mean, hopefully, but he was an assistant.
Pat Riley system is the toughest system in the league. Guys,
I get it.
Pat Riley system.
I get that. I get that. But there's a difference. But look, there's a difference though. I know he came from that Pat Riley coaching tree, right? But there's a difference between what he was with Miami and what he is now and what he was with Memphis. See, in Miami, he was an assistant coach. And guess what happens with the assistant coaches? They become the players' friends. The assistant coaches, it's okay to be the player's friend, right? Because you're the assistant coach. The coach is getting on their nerves and the player comes and, is spouting off to you about what they don't like about the coach. It's a little bit different. It's almost like your mother, your father, they're tough on you, but then your aunt and your uncle, they're the ones that give you the ear and they listen to you. You know what I mean? And then maybe they go to your mom or your father and say, hey, why don't you think about this and that? You know, we'll see. It's going to be a challenge for Fizdale. We'll see. Hey, my man, I appreciate the call.
Okay.
I appreciate the call, man. I'm going to get around because I know there's some people trying to call in. All right. Definitely some concerns, some things to think about. You know, I want to find out. I want to know what you guys think about this free agency, man. You know, a lot of things to think about with this free agency. You know, I look in the chat. I see guys in the chat. You know, like all red right here says 2 lineups in 1. Crazy Knicks, baby. Dave NYK says Knicks 2019-2020 roster. He thinks the starters are Dennis Smith Jr., RJ Morris, Randle, and Mitch. Bench would be Peyton, Ellington, Knox, Bobby Gibson. Reserves Frank Trier, Dotson, Bullock, and Brazdeikis and Ignas. You know, there's so many different lineups that you can go with, you know. So many different lineups. There's a lot of stuff to think about, talk about. Now, I'm going to take one more phone call, then I'm going to get back to the video chat. All right? Caller, you're on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's poppin'?
How you doing, Sam? It's JJ. How's it going, man?
I'm good, man.
How's everything?
How you feeling?
Pretty good, thanks. So we're still giving grades from free agency and everything, or no?
Yeah. So what are your free agency grades? I haven't given my grades yet.
I know earlier Guillermo said, "Oh, nobody else got Durant or Kyrie, so why is everyone bashing us?" Because everyone said that's where they were going, and you can't compare it to all the other teams, you know. But
see here, so listen to what you just said, though. Listen to what you just said. Everybody said that's where we were going. Everybody is not the Knicks, though. That's everybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody else said that's where we were going, not necessarily the Knicks.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, if you told me, you know, during the season, everything, all the rumors, if you told me that the best player we were going to get was Julius Randle, I get why people are laughing at us. You know what I mean? I mean, that wasn't the goal.
No, that wasn't the goal. I mean, they're laughing at us. I mean, they're laughing but they're not laughing because, in my opinion, they're not laughing over the Knicks doing. You know what I mean? You know, they're laughing really over the media's doing. The media is the one who said we're getting all this and that and this and that. You know, the Knicks just said they feel good. Yeah. They feel good that free agents want to play for the Knicks, but they didn't say that they were definitely getting this player or that player. But you know, I guess, well, what's your grade?
Like I said, considering what the goal was, I'll give it a C+. C+.
All right, so I think, again, you're looking at it in the context of KD and Kyrie.
Yeah, from that, I mean, I probably would have given it. Actually, I'll give it a C. I would have given it a B if that wasn't, you know, the expectation. You know what I'm saying? So I gotta just make it a little bit lower, just because of what the expectations were. If there were no expectations for superstars, I would give it probably a B. You know, but I think I'll give it a C+.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. And my man Vince Vandro said Dolan fumbled the bag. I don't even know if Dolan was involved, bro. I mean, maybe he was.
What do you think?
I don't even know.
What do you think changed? Because something had to change during the season. Do you think it was the Durant injury that affect? You know, like why they probably changed their mind from what everyone was saying? At least maybe everyone just got it wrong. I don't know.
Honest with you, I think.
Do you think something changed?
Yeah. I think Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving talked and they spoke, and you know, they probably had conversations about either Brooklyn and New York.
Yeah.
One of them.
You know what I think? One of the things I thought was after the injury, I think he felt like I'm probably not going to be the same player. So Brooklyn, it's in New York, but it's not. It's like going to the Mets over the Yankees or the Islanders over the Rangers. It's not the same. It's not the same pressure. So maybe he looked at it as like, oh, if I don't win in Brooklyn, I'm still going to be a king there because, you know, now our fans can make fun of the Knicks and this and that. You know what I'm saying? Like if he doesn't win as a Knick, they'll be like, oh, he's a failure. You know, he was just another Knick bum. You know, you get me?
No,
it's like a softer landing spot in a way, going to the Nets.
I feel that, and the Nets. And let's be honest, the Nets had more of a foundation in place. They had more things going. They had more things ready. You know.
Yeah, I read something today that Sean Mark said Durant said he loves like the system they play and things like that, and the culture and everything. So it's true. Yeah.
And you know, I'm not entirely sold that the Nets are going to win a championship with KD and Kyrie. I'm not entirely sold on it, but they have, you know, they have a better, you know, they at the moment they had a better foundation in place. So yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask you one question?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just wondering because you have so much depth now, right? Like, say I'm looking at Knox and say Dennis Smith. Say they struggle again like they did last year. How do you? Because we're trying to win now, right? So how do you try and win now while not hurting the development of the young kids? Like if they're struggling, like maybe they lose minutes because there's other guys who can do the job now. You know what I'm saying? Like how do you do both at the same time?
Well, I mean, I think that I think the way that you do both at the same time is by trying to win basketball games, and they've got to earn their spot. Yeah. That's it. They got to earn their spot.
Right. So do you worry if Knox is struggling and shooting 30-something% again, like you're going to take the minutes away, you know, from like maybe you play Morris more or, you know, Brazdeikis. So how do you know, not, you know, hurt the development by maybe sitting him or not giving him as many minutes as last year?
Well,
you know?
I mean, and I'm going to let you go, then I'm going to answer your question, all right? I appreciate the call.
All right. Appreciate it, man.
Yep. And I think, you know, the way that you develop the kids, obviously they have to play, but also making them earn their spot and earn their position is part of development. If you just give it to them just because, hey, you're Kevin Knox and you were drafted 9th, if you just give it to them just because of that, then you're doing them a disservice. Right? There's too many players that in the league, outside the league, you know, guys playing in AAU and all that kind of stuff, who they get their position just because they have a name, right? Right, they go from, you know, they've been known in high school. They get on this certain AAU team and they're getting playing time just because of who they are, whether or not they earned it, whether or not they're actually playing up to par, because they have a little bit more cachet to them. It goes right over into college and then the NBA. You know, you can't give guys playing time just because of who they are, what they have done in the past. You got to base it on what they're doing now and what they're going to do in the future. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, what they're doing now means a lot. You know, if you're not playing well, you're not shooting well, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, then, hey, you might have to take a few minutes back. You take a few minutes back, you get in the gym, you get your shot right, you get this right, you get back out there and you play. If you're giving a guy 35 minutes just because he's RJ Barrett, you know, you might be doing that guy a disservice. You got to earn that. You got to earn that. You know what I'm saying? You got to get to a point in your career where, you know, you earned the right to get 35 minutes just because you're RJ Barrett. You know, if you've been in the league 5 years and you've been putting out so much production, it's like, you know what, this is RJ. He might be struggling, but he'll be able to get through. You got to earn that. And you got to let these guys earn it. If you give it to them just because it's a disservice and they're not going to get better, that's how you get them better. You make them earn it. Yeah, you're going to play them. You're going to play them. You're going to make sure they get minutes because they got to get it on the floor. And, you know, that's how you let them know that they're earning it, because if they're just sitting on the bench rotting away, they don't know. But you get them on the floor and they perform a little bit. They get them more minutes. They get more minutes. They perform a little bit. They get more minutes. That's how they know that they're earning it. They get a little bit of taste of it on the floor. And then when you take it away from them, it hurts. You know, so you use that. You use that. It's going to be a tough task for Fizdale. It is, without a doubt. It's going to be one of the toughest. It's going to be his toughest task as in this season so far. But I'm going to tell you what. I think Scott Perry is expecting the Knicks to at least fight for an 8th spot. At the very least, fight for an 8th spot. You know what I mean? And, you know, if not, they might be looking at Fizdale. So Fizdale has got to, you know, he's got to play like his job depends on it. I'm not saying that his job does depend on it, but I'm telling him to play like it depends on it, because I think Scott Perry wants to at least contend for an 8th spot, fight for it, be in the mix, be there, you know, and if, you know, if not, then people are going to start looking at Fizdale and say, hey, can you do the job? You know what I mean? So yeah, Fizdale, you know, he's got his work cut out for him with the group that he has right now. He definitely has his work cut out for him. You know, let me go ahead and get to the video chat, see what these guys talking about. We got some new people that just joined the chat. Of course, Nate got his hand up as usual. Nate always got his hand up, you know, but we got, you know, good number in the chat. Looks like Isaiah just joined the chat. Was that Yeah, that's Isaiah. He's in the dark, ladies and gentlemen, because he knows you guys still looking at that video of me whooping that ass. I didn't want to have to say it like that, but I had to say it like that. You know. But let me get these guys over here. Viv, let me get to you, man. Talk to you for a minute.
What's going on, Tim?
What's going on, Viv? How you been? Hey, I'm sorry I missed you. I knew you was in D.C. Hopefully I can catch you the next time.
Nah, it was me. Yeah, that was on me. I got tied up with a bunch of stuff. So
yeah, I know how you get busy, man. So
man.
Right now we're doing off-season report cards. I haven't given my grade yet. I just been listening. We've been talking because I know there's a lot to go through. Well, I gave my grade for the draft. For right now we're doing free agency. What do you give the Knicks for free agency? What's your grade?
Well, I mean, I can't put incomplete, right? I got to give a letter, right?
I guess you could give incomplete if you wanted to.
I mean, it's incomplete because it really hinges on a lot of factors, right? The reason I'm saying that is because, the real purpose of everybody that Perry signed, right, is to provide such a competitive, culture per se, that it'll elevate everybody else's game, right? It's going to elevate Knox. It's going to elevate Dennis Smith Jr. It's RJ, everybody, right? So, if that happens, that everybody markedly gets better by the end of the second year, then you can say that these free agent signings are quite successful. At the same time, you also expect that many of these players, due to their flexible contracts, will also be shipped over the course of time. So, if, let's say this, right, this one scenario, everybody develops the way, we expect, exceeds our expectations, right? And we start trading some of the guys, to basically as a favor to other teams, get some assets back.
Right.
That's A to me, right? If, you're not able to trade them, but you can develop the guys, then you can maybe say, okay, it's a A-, B+, right? If you don't really see that development, or if it's like kind of like average, below average, to me, it's like a, like a B-, C+, right? Where it really goes bad is if the team's record is kind of like where we are at this year, where, instead of 17, maybe you get 22 wins. Then you're like, okay, what's the point of bringing everybody? Because, now no one really got better. And you're kind of have to start from scratch again next year, right?
Right.
So then that really, that is a big factor. And then, like the caller said, I think a couple callers ago, the fact that you got a bunch of people on 1+1 deals, you got those issues with like playing time, etc. The last thing you want is players not to have that, competitive culture rub in, and then it just goes into like an ego to ego fight, and you get a lot of complaining. That's the last thing you want. So it's really incomplete because there's a lot of there's a lot of variables, and I guess really my issue with some of these pieces, it first was probably the redundancy part. When you have guys say like, you're doubling down Portis, Gibson, Randle. That's like three players who got a lot of minutes last year, right? Then you double down on, say, like Ellington. Then you also double down the point guard position with Payton. So, I felt that there's a doubling down to an extent that probably it seemed a little bit excessive in my eyes. But Perry can prove me wrong with all these players, lifting up everybody else. And if that happens, then you have a very successful offseason. But it also at the same time puts a lot of pressure on David Fizdale, and I may think maybe it's a little bit too much, pressure, because there's going to be he's going to have to coach this year, and he's going to have to figure out how to make these things work. And I think, I know he's a very personable coach, so to put him on the test is actually it's going to be quite a big test in my opinion. But hey, I mean, that's the main reason I say it's complete. It's very, very hard to grade. I mean, in my opinion.
Okay, all right, I can respect that because there is a lot, there's a lot of things, going on with the guys that we signed, and I'm not saying we signed superstars, but I am expecting that I expect us to do better than 22. But I agree, so I agree with you. If we end up doing like 22, is like, what happened, and then you got to look at Coach Fizz. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm expecting us to be at the very least 30-something wins in the 30s.
Right. I mean, I would say anywhere between 32 to 34. Mm-hmm. I think if you double your win total, right, and you get that the development, I don't think you can ask for much more than that.
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
But again, it's so many variables. You're making it really, really hard on coach.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be very hard on Fizz. Very hard.
And you got the whole stigma. They haven't really done damage control yet. With all these signings, so everyone's kind of stayed quiet. So it's very weird right now.
Okay.
But we'll see.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Let me see what Nate's talking about. Hold on, Nate. Let me get you unmuted. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, is my name on the bottom now?
Yeah, your name is on the bottom. Good job. See that? There you go. And I'm gonna have to kick Isaiah out because he don't have his name on the bottom. but go ahead, man. What's your grade for the Knicks and after you give yours, I'm gonna give mine. What's your grade? For free agency?
I'm gonna give it a solid B, and I'll tell you why. Obviously, the big prize was Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving or Kawhi or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I think most Knicks fans knew out there that probably wasn't going to happen just because the way the culture was right now, the fact that we lost, we were the worst team in the NBA. Like you said, you framed it very well. How the hell is a player that's on a championship team or in the championship going to go to the worst team in the NBA? I think a lot of us were just kind of caught in the moment and didn't realistically think that it was going to be possible. I think the Randle signing was huge. I like Julius Randle. At 24 years old, this guy can be an all-star. He really can. And if he can get better defensively, this guy's going to be a complete all-around player. And I think he fits perfect in with this young mold of what we're trying to do. And then, honestly, we just added depth, man. I mean, we talked about it last year, when Knox went down, Trier was hurt at times, Mitch got hurt. Mm-hmm. We don't have anybody else to run with, and that's the reason why we lost a lot of games is because our depth showed, and you got to have depth in the NBA to win. I mean, look at the Warriors. The Warriors run their starting five and to the ground, and then when they get hurt, they have nobody else to go to the bench. None of the other players, other than maybe Iguodala and Livingston, I mean, no one else really had any experience playing in tough games. So you got to have depth. And I think the Knicks are a lot better because of the depth. They added shooters, they added rebounders, they added some defenders. Not only that, but they got tougher guys. Like, I want to see Marcus Morris go against some of the big threes because Marcus Morris is no slouch. He'll get into he'll get in your grill. Like he'll make it uncomfortable for you. And I just think we got tougher. We got tougher, and we're deeper, and we're talented. I mean, we had an area of the four guys that we needed to address, and we did a really good job of addressing it. Okay. And I like the Peyton signing. I think Peyton could be the starter. I hope he is. All right. So, I mean, for what we could get, I think we did a great job. All
right. Sounds good. All right. Sounds good. I like your take on it. I'm gonna come to Isaiah. Isaiah,
how you doing, sir?
I'm doing really, really good because I bust your grill the other day.
Listen, Sam. I am sick and tired of all these people. They're hitting me up, coming at me, talking about you trash. I want to play you. Listen, sir. I want to give everybody a warning. You get one joke on me, but then you're gonna catch these hands.
You should have,
because I'm sick and tired. Because we're gonna take it to MBK boxing because nobody want this work.
You should have came better prepared. Like,
listen.
Hold, wait a minute. You shouldn't have went to Mission Barbecue the day before and had a whole slab of ribs. A whole bunch of pulled chicken, macaroni and cheese, and expect you is going to come out and be able to play ball. Come on, man.
Listen, hold on.
Come on, man.
See, let me tell everybody something. Listen, I was at this man's house for 3 days. I know this man better than everybody on this chat. Let me tell you, his son tricked me they worked together to trick me to eat barbecue the day of the game.
Hey, nobody told you. Yeah, look, he's in the chat too, so he knows you lying. He's in the chat.
Listen, Joe, you are a trickster, a deceiver. I was bamboozled. I was hoodwinked. They made me eat barbecue. The barbecue was delicious, by the way. I didn't have a rack of ribs.
Yeah, listen.
I had 3 ribs. Listen.
This man went and had a whole rack of ribs and expect he's going to come out and be able to play basketball.
Sim, I am sick of everybody hitting me up. Next person that hits me up, I am going to beat their ass. I repeat, next person, especially that tall guy right there, Guillermo. Gilbert's been talking the most stuff, and I'm sick of Guillermo. When Guillermo heals up, I want to face him one-on-one. I'm issuing the challenge right now.
Man, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what to say, Isaiah, for real.
Listen, Stem, we're not going to record the next one, but just know.
Why not?
Just know.
Why not? Why are we not going to record the next one?
I don't want to embarrass you. Stem, you got a wife. You got kids. I don't want to embarrass you in front of them. I went easy on you.
Okay. Okay.
I didn't want to embarrass you in front of your wife and kids. They allowed me into the house. I could not as a man, Stem, I cannot beat you and you have a wife and kid. I can't do it. I'm sorry. I don't have kids. I can't do it, Sim. You got people looking up to you. I don't want people to feel embarrassed for you. I give you a give me, Sim, because I'm that kind of guy.
All right. I'm gonna let you think that. You know what I'm saying? Just, because I'm gonna let you think that so you can feel confident about yourself and all that good stuff. Look, I'm gonna show you guys just a little bit of promo. This is just a quick little promo, all right?
Oh my God!
Oh my gosh, nothing. I'm just a quick little promo. You guys can see exactly. For those who did not get a chance to see the video, you can go on YouTube. You can see the video. But here's a quick promo of just what I was doing to Isaiah. I was cracking this dude. I was cracking him, ladies and gentlemen. So this is just a quick little promo. Check it out. Yeah, it was bad. If I can get it to play, let me see if I can get it to play.
The video's a lie, America. The video's a lie.
I'm gonna have to reset it. I'll get it to play right quick. The video is not a lie, ladies and gentlemen. I was busting this man, and he was breathing hard. He didn't know what to do.
Oh.
He didn't know what to do.
Listen, I know this got everybody in the chat going crazy. Everybody been talking about this video for the last, but I'm telling everybody, I'm the can man. I'm the can man. Remember that. Anybody can get it. Americans, Puerto Ricans, African Americans.
All right, do me.
Oh my God.
Do me a favor. Tell me what your grade is. What's your grade? What's your grade, man? What's your grade?
The next off season?
That's all I want to know. What's your grade right now?
I'll give him a B+.
Okay, so why a B+?
Because I think look, everybody on ESPN are climbing the Knicks and they're talking about the Knicks. I'm watching videos on YouTube of like sports analysts and they're starting to give the Knicks an F because for some odd reason, even though Scott Perry never came out and said it, the expectation were the Knicks to get Kevin Durant when the Knicks front office never once said that they're getting these guys. They never said that. They have constantly said that they're going to stay the course and do what's right by the team, which is a slow, grinding rebuild. And they picked up a lot of guys that are serviceable, that are, to me, C to B list players that you need. These are really high. We got a lot of high-end role players, and we talked about it before what Scott Perry is going to do during the February trade deadline. They're going to flip a lot of these guys and get asked. The good thing is that we got a lot of teams don't have enough role players, like, for example, the Lakers, the Clippers, and all these other teams. And the Knicks pretty much got all the good high-end role players for cheap deals, and the Knicks are gonna flip. Scott Perry's gonna flip them. These were smart moves. They got the right guys in the locker room. They got Cobbs Gibson, who's a leader. There's gonna be no nonsense. You got Marcus Morris. There's no nonsense. You got a lot of these guys that have been on winning teams and know how to win and show these young guys what to do. Now, the hard part is going to be for David Fizdale to find a balance of player development and trying to win. That's going to be the hardest part of the season. But what the Knicks did is give them the opportunity to be great. So, I give them a B+ because no, we didn't land the big fish, but we got the body shots in, and we're going to be fine. I honestly think we can win 40-something games. I think we could be this year's Clippers. I really do believe that.
Okay.
With David Fizdale.
Well, this is what I'm gonna do. I like your analogy of the body shots. You know what I mean? I do like that analogy because that's adding some of the guys we added. That's like if you it's like throwing some body shots. But I want to show this video. Now, it's just a little 1 minute and 30-second promo. I'm gonna show this video right quick, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I did to Isaiah. Here we go. And it was bad, folks.
Take me pay that champion joint off.
Don't make me like Mike, baby. You see these?
The CDs, them ain't even mics no more.
Don't worry about them. They're Mikes. They're Isaiah's.
What are those?
Don't even do that. What is that? Don't worry about it.
That's the Ross Jordans.
Don't worry about it.
He said that's the Ross Stores Jordans. Ball for less.
Listen.
Dress for less, ball for less.
This is the key. This is the secret I've been waiting to pull this out.
Hold up. Does he have the, he don't got no lace part to put it through the hole.
Shut up. What's that? Don't worry about it. What's that? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Listen, these are secrets. These are the keys. Watch this.
That's Kobe move right there. KB 24 on that.
See, y'all hear that man breathing hard. He couldn't stop breathing. He was breathing hard. He couldn't walk. I'm telling you, man. I'm just trying to tell you. I'm just trying to tell you.
Look, hold on. Listen,
what?
Can I defend myself? Because you got videos, dudios. I don't know what you got.
Man, defend yourself.
I don't know what you got.
This is the last time you're getting a chance to defend yourself.
I was injured.
Oh, gosh. Here we go.
Look, hold on, Sim. Hold on. You know what I didn't tell you, Sim? You know what I didn't tell you? Let me tell you what happened.
What?
Can I tell you the story?
Yeah, go ahead.
Look, when I was leaving my hotel, this group of guys came out and they was like, "Yo, you Isaiah?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" They was like, "Okay, we part of the crew," and they had bucket hats. That's how I knew they was part of the crew. So they started tripping me. They started kicking me in the back of my knee. Look, Tim, I didn't want to tell you because I knew it came from you. So that's why I was like, all right, he must be trying to play. I took them all down, though. I knocked them all out, but I got hit. I got hurt. And I got hit in my back and my knee. My back and my knee got hurt.
Okay. All right.
So and when we played the game, I was sore, but I still won. So I won the mental battle. I want everybody to know this. I won the mental battle because you know what it is? I got you exactly where I want you. People, you think you're winning, but I'm going to win. Watch.
Okay. All right. Anyway,
I'm winning this. Then.
You can see the entire video. The video is, 12 minutes long. You can see the entire video, and it's 12 minutes of me just straight whipping Isaiah's ass.
First of all, I don't get my ass whooped. I ain't get my ass whooped since I was 2 years old. Well, and that's when I stole some candy.
He was 2 years old that night because I took off the belt and wha-pop.
Listen.
But anyway, I'm gonna let you recover. I'm gonna come around to some other people, man. I'm gonna let you recover. And
don't go to JaVale McGee because he been laughing all night, and he new to the chat. Don't come to JaVale McGee.
I'm gonna go ahead and give my grade. I'm gonna give my grade.
And tell Guillermo he can get it too when he gets held up. I don't care.
Guillermo's hurt, man. Guillermo won't be able to play.
I got jumped. You don't see me crying. I got jumped on Saturday by the Sim gang. You don't see me crying.
Man, shut this guy up real quick. Anyway, I give the Knicks a B for free agency. I give him a B. And I too put it in the context of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, but differently than everybody else. The reason why I put it in the context of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving is because if that was the plan A, which I'm pretty sure was plan A, at least to get Kevin Durant and probably Kyrie Irving, that was plan A, but they didn't get plan A. It didn't go the Knicks' way. So they had to pivot. And when they pivoted, they were smart when they pivoted. Right? They were smart. They pivoted from Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. They went in a new direction. And when they went in that new direction, they signed a guy in Julius Randle that's a young guy that fits how you want to play, the type of game you want to play, fits your age range. And they still signed him to a short-term contract. And then the other guys, we went over all the other guys. We went over everybody. They signed into short-term contracts, right? Smart, veteran guys that play defense that can shoot the basketball. All right, they're taking a flyer on Elfrid Payton, hoping that he's ready to turn the corner in his career and prove that he can be a long-time starter in the NBA. I get it. And so, yeah, it is, for me, it's still in the context of Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, but not the way that everyone else takes in this as it's negative because the Knicks didn't get him and Brooklyn did. I'm not comparing me and Mark. If you guys know who's Mark, we had a big thing about because the Knicks didn't get Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. And he was so worried about Brooklyn. He went to Brooklyn. That's why I'm mad, because he went to Brooklyn. He could have went any place else, and I wouldn't really care that much, but he went to Brooklyn. And I think it is very poor. And I'm glad that Scott Perry and Steve Mills are not basing everything that they do on Brooklyn, and they shouldn't. That's smart. That's the best thing that they can do. Don't base it on Brooklyn. And there's so many people that I see say, well, Brooklyn got, they're the ones who got Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving and da-da-da-da-da. So what? That's what I say. So what? They got them. Cool. Kudos to them. We have our own plan. We have our own way, and that's what we're going to do with it. We're going to execute our plan, and it was very clear to me that Scott Perry had a plan and went out and executed that plan. And executed that plan very well, in my opinion, when it did not go the way that they wanted it to go. So to me, they did a good job. Still based in the context of KD and Kyrie, they did a good job. They had themselves set up for the future. Everything is is set up for 2021 so that they can at least have a chance to sign a big name if that's what their plan is in 2021. So I give them a B in free agency. So far, I think the Knicks have done well this offseason. Now let's get to the Summer League.
today. A lot of teaching, turn your brains on, mainly a big day of up here, okay? 1, 2, 3, hey. So the mindset is, defense is a top priority. It's a personal thing. My guy is not scoring against me.
We got a squad, and I'm just a rookie coming in. Try to do as much as I can to help the team. They're definitely teaching me the ways, and I'm just excited to start learning. Very hard work and practice, so excited to see what's next.
Family on 3, 1, 2, 3. Family.
I know you want to stay updated with the Knicks. Subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell. You'll be notified anytime I go live, drop a video, or post in my community section. Subscribe right now. Now let's get to the Rooks. Now let's talk about Ignas Brazdeikis. He started for Alonzo Trier last night, and he made the most of it. Last night, Iggy had 30 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists. He shot 57.9% from the field and 50% from 3. I really, really like this kid. I really do. I like his heart. I like the way that he plays the game. He doesn't try to do too much. He does what he can do. He plays within himself, and he plays within the game. He plays within the team. I really like what I'm seeing, although I'm not getting too high. I'm staying even keel. We've seen guys win the Summer League, win the MVP of the Summer League, and then do nothing in the NBA. We've seen guys do nothing in the Summer League and then kill it in the NBA. So I'm going to stay even keel with him. Although, I do believe he's going to be a good role player for the Knicks. I think he has a promising future with this team and in the NBA. And the Knicks think so too. The Knicks are treating this kid like a first-round draft pick. They gave him a nice, very nice contract. He just signed a $4.2 million deal for 3 years. He makes $900,000 in 2019, 2020, $1.5 million in 2020, 2021, and then $1.8 million in 2021, 2022. The third year is a team option. Not a bad deal for a second-round pick, not at all. And I think this guy is going to be worth it. I think he has the chance to be a role player, a key role player on this team moving forward. So big shout out to Iggy. Now let's talk about RJ Broadway Barrett, as one of my YouTube subscribers likes to call him. Bottom line, RJ hasn't had the greatest debut in Summer League. He hasn't played well at all. His first game, RJ had 10 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers. He shot 22.2% from the field, 12.5% from 3. In his second game, RJ had 8 points, 10 rebounds, 8 turnovers, 1 assist. He shot 20% from the field, 20% from 3. Those are horrible numbers. I get it. Terrible numbers, I know. But let's stay even keel. Let's not get too low. Not one player in this Summer League has the same set of circumstances. And Barrett's are definitely different than most of the players in this league. He's coming in as high profile. He's probably had a lot of media engagements. And he hasn't played basketball in 3 months. I know you're probably saying I'm looking for excuses and all that stuff. But it means something. It does. His legs are tired. You can see it in his shot. He has no lift. He's never been a super athletic guy. Never had super duper speed. But I see he lacks a little bit of burst. Let's see if that changes when he actually gets in shape. And then, of course, there's some, I don't want to say pressure because it's Summer League, but there's a lot of buzz going around him. And that can take a toll on a 19-year-old kid. I know he went to Duke, and he's already high profile from a high-profile program, but it's still different. It's still different. I like the fact that he can get to the rim. He can get to the line. He's got to learn to knock down his free throws. I like that he has the Mamba mentality, but he's got to learn when to use it and how to use it. He's 19. He'll learn those things. We got to give him time. And we got time. Because he signed a contract. 4 years, $35 million. He's going to be around for a while. Let's take a look at his contract. In 2019, 2020, he makes $7.7 million. 2020, 2021, he makes $8.1 million. In 2021-22, there's an $8.5 million team option. In 2022, 2023, there's a $10.7 million team option. And then in 2023, 2024, it's a $14.1 million qualifying offer. He's going to be around for a little while, so get used to him, at least for 2 years. Remember, stay even keel with the guy.
He's just fired. I'm good.
What's up, it's Iggy. We out here in Vegas with my boys, Kevin, RJ. He's not looking. We about to eat good tonight at the Tao. We'll keep you updated. More slew bass, please.
Run it back, TJ. Y'all said 8, right? Since y'all was 8, something like that. Y'all been playing together since then?
Yeah, like we went to the same camp at like 8 years old, and then we just became friends. And then
oh, I forgot about that. Bro, we played one-on-one for like an hour. He beat me like 60-20. Like it was bad. I was not good when I was younger.
On draft night, like he got drafted to the Knicks, and then you see your boy get drafted to the Knicks. Like how was that y'all next conversation when y'all saw each other?
I was hyped. I was with my family, and then somebody came over to me and said, "Yeah, Iggy's coming to the Knicks." I just started screaming. I got so hyped. Yeah, man, it's cool.
What's the biggest transition you had to go through from the college basketball game to the NBA?
I'm gonna give you all 3 of them. The first one, I mean, just 82 games, just taking care of your body. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, y'all some great rookies. Y'all gonna play a good amount of minutes on the team. Feels like they play everybody, so y'all gonna get a lot of time on the court. You gotta make sure you get the treatment, especially with flying overnight, landing and playing the next day, practicing and stuff. Like that's one of them. The second one, I mean, probably just the physicality of it. I mean, guys in the NBA are a lot stronger than guys in college and high school. So, and then probably the last one, you know, both y'all are used to getting foul calls in college or high school. He didn't get no calls in the NBA as a rookie, man. I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, you just gotta play through it. Road trips, I mean, you always want to get a vet too, because they'll take the tab too. Oh yeah, they'll definitely take the tab, especially a vet. You take them out to eat, get a nice little free meal.
Right there.
Because a lot of times you're gonna be like getting room service and stuff because you get back so late, you don't feel like moving after a game. Nah, go out and eat with a vet or somebody older. They'll go ahead and get that tab for you, you'll be straight.
So you my vet now?
Nah, I ain't say all that.
You my vet now, Kev?
I ain't say all that. I ain't taking no tabs.
Kev, my new vet.
No tabs. I ain't picking up no tabs.
That was good. Can I talk about how we beat Kentucky?
Oh, no. We don't need to talk about that. Kentucky's the best college basketball team to ever play. Like, if you look at all-time wins, who has the most all-time wins?
Who has the best coach?
Kentucky.
Who has the best coach?
Man, I ain't even talking about that. What y'all looking forward to the most, like this upcoming season, like this for y'all rookie season?
I'm looking forward to just playing. Yeah. Like, I love the hoop, so playing at the highest level, especially like with y'all, especially because I'm so cool and we're so close in age. Like, I didn't really want to go to a team that had too many vets, you know. So just being able to play with people I can connect with, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, that's what made last year fun too. I mean, just having all the young guys on the team, like people you can relate to, like you can joke around with, like have fun with, and shoot around on the plane. Like, I guess that was definitely something I enjoyed last year. What about you? What you looking forward to?
I personally love playing on the road in college basketball. That's what I look for the most. So playing in those like hostile environments, that's what I live for. So that's probably what I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, on the road in NBA, I mean, it's different from college because in college on the road you got the student sections and stuff, like you be hyped. I love that, boy, especially Kentucky, because like everyone loved playing against Kentucky. Like everyone tried to beat them so bad, so like the student sections be lit, bro. I love that so much, bro. He's a great coach, man. I mean, he's just somebody you can go to and talk to. Like, even if you having like off the court stuff, like you just go talk to him. Like, he's a funny dude. Like, he'll crack jokes with you. Like, if you have a problem with something, like you can go to him for help. I mean, I think Fizz is definitely great for this job because he's going to hold each and one of us accountable. He's going to make sure that we compete at the highest level, play hard. And that's all that New York's about, man, just playing hard, competing. And Fizz is a great coach for that environment.
Fizz has been cool since day one. I can definitely see what Kev's talking about. You know, you can just relate to him so well. And yeah, I'm kind of really excited to play for him. He's definitely a real player's coach, and you know, it looks like he lets his players play. So, you know, just gotta trust him.
But playing in the Garden, man, there's nothing like it, man. I'm trying to tell you, man. The fans go crazy during the whole game. No other place like New York as far as when it comes to basketball, like the fans. So like they was locked in, bro. I'm trying to tell you, like, down the stretch, I mean, ain't no better place to play than the Garden, man. I'm trying to tell you. It'll be mad cool. There'll be a lot of celebrities there. There'll be a lot of like boxers too, like sports guys. The Giants, Jets, all their players come to the games too. Saquon came to a few games. There'll be a lot of players there.
I played in the Garden last year. That was the most lit game we had all year. That game was so crazy. Like, I just, you know, we thought like playing in the Garden, like, yeah, it's gonna be a great experience, it's gonna be fun, but like the amount of people that were there, a college game, and it was like sold out, man, that was so crazy. You couldn't even hear the person next to you on the court because it was so loud.
Yeah, that game was definitely lit. I remember that. That's the game, like in the locker room, where like the reporters was like, it was Zion, like, how is this going to be a Knick? And comes to find out, you're the one that's actually the Knicks. So like, tell me how that was. Then he called your name too. He's like, yo, RJ, you want to play for the Knicks?
Yeah, that was funny. We would just always joke around, and we kind of figured that one of us would be, you know, a Knick. So, I mean, it's really funny to see how it played out. But man, I'm so excited to be a Knick. You know, there's nothing better than that.
Yo, I'm a Knick.
Leave me alone, bro.
That was funny.
A lot of great food here. Thanks to Tal. Looking forward to playing with y'all this upcoming season. I mean, it's gonna be a great experience. But I mean, here with my boy RJ, Kevin, Iggy, we out.
I wanted to see in the summer league. I wanted to see them play hard. The first game against New Orleans, I think they came out and they were playing hard. As a matter of fact, most of the games that they played in, they came out and they built the lead, double-digit leads, but they couldn't hold them. But they came out and they played hard. I think I don't know what it was, why they couldn't hold the league in summer league. Why they couldn't hold the lead, I don't know if it was because they were playing some other guys or what, but they didn't hold the lead. I didn't like the fact that, especially in the beginning of summer league, they were getting killed on screen and rolls. The defense wasn't that good. They were getting smacked in the screen and roll. Guys were dunking on them down the lane, easy. You know, getting in the lane and getting easy buckets. They had such trouble guarding that screen and roll, and that really bothered me. That really bothered me. You gotta be better. You gotta be better in that screen and roll. Now, and then the question is it just because they were young, or is it coaching? Like Knickerbocker is saying, is it coaching? Which one is it? Why is it that we're having such problems covering that screen and roll? Because look, let's face it, the summer league is that's when you start to put your system in. That's when you start to put in at least philosophies and principles of your system. It may not be the entire system, but it's principles. and you start to work on those principles. I want to know what the Knicks screen and roll principle is. That's what I want to know, because we got killed on it last year. And people are going to say, well, we had Enes Kanter, but Enes Kanter did better in other systems, and we'll see how he does in Boston. Then we'll know if it was Kanter or if it was the Knicks. But I feel like the Knicks maybe, I don't know. I feel like it's their scheme. We're going to see a lot of switching from the Knicks this year. We'll see how that works. That's the kind of team that they're building, a team that switches on defense. It could be a positive. It could be a negative. It could be a positive because you can switch everything, you know, and it makes it harder for guys to be able to penetrate because you're switching. But then you can also get confused if you don't know, you know, if guys aren't communicating the right way. So I don't know. You know, the defense wasn't great. It wasn't great at all. RJ Barrett got off to a slow start, and, you know, there's reasons behind that. I think he started to play better, you know, as he went deeper into the summer league. We missed Alonzo Trier after the first game, you know, because he's definitely a source of scoring. Kevin Knox, I thought Kevin Knox, you know, he played well in the beginning. He started to play, you know, he would play well and then he would fade away. So we still seen him fade away from the game. You know, at the end, he was more aggressive. So maybe he recognized, and people told him, hey, you're fading away again. You're not there. You're fading away from the game. Maybe he started to recognize that, or people recognized it and told him. He does look bigger. He does look stronger. He's learning how to use that shoulder when he goes to the basket. Boom, knock people out the way. So we did see some things, but I thought there was, you know, something left to be desired from Summer League. And, you know, for a team that had a bunch of second-year players on it, let me see, we had at least three second-year players on it. Kadeem Allen's been in the league forever, the Summer League. You know, you would expect a little bit more. But it is, you know, Summer League. I seen someone in the chat say, it's Summer League. I guess it's Summer League. I mean, does it concern you, though, that we had possibly 3/5 of our starting five in the Summer League and we didn't win? Or is that going to be 3/5 of our starting five? Maybe only one of those guys are going to start. I don't know. It's still up in the air. We'll see. Let me get over here to the video chat. You can call in and talk to me, 516-405-2246. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming over to these platforms and joining me. You know, and if everybody wants to be in the chat, jump on to the twitch.tv/nothing-but-Knicks. Then everyone can be in the same chat. You know, right now it's still kind of cool. We got Facebook, we got Twitter, we got Twitch going. You know, so you know, it's still kind of cool, and we still got people in the chats and talking. You know, so big shout out to everyone on all the platforms: Twitch, Twitter, Facebook. Big shout out to everybody, and we got people in each one of them. So that's a good thing, man. That's a good thing. I like it. But if you want to call in, 516-405-2246. Give me a call. And I want to get your take on Summer League and what you think about Summer League. I know we just did a Summer League wrap up, but we're going to wrap it up again. All right, so let me get to the video chat, see what these guys think. All right, and I'm going to start with Guermo. All right, we're going to start with Guermo, see what Guermo thinks about Summer League. Guermo, I'm coming to you, man. All right, let me mute Nate. And it looks like, oh, let me put this up big first. I'm going to put this up big because Isaiah, that looks like you. I think, Nick, are you drawing? That looks like you, Isaiah. And it looks like how sad you was looking on the basketball court, too. Yeah. Go ahead. Guermo, I'm coming to you, Guermo. I'm coming to you, man. Hey, Guermo, what's good, man?
What's good, Sam? How you doing, man?
I'm good.
So we talking strictly about Summer League?
Yeah, we're on the Summer League.
So what I liked, what I would grade it, I would grade it a solid a solid B, and this is why I'll say I like what I saw at the end from RJ in terms of what they implemented with him, not necessarily him coming on with scoring or any of that. I love what I saw from Iggy. He showed that he could be a really good role player starting out. You know, give him a solid 20 minutes starting out. You know, tell him to hit maybe 1 or 2 threes a game, play good defense, good rebounding, things like that. I like what I saw in terms of guys committing. I like what I saw from, even though he was up and down, I like the fact that Kadeem Allen at 26, 27 years old, you know, didn't think that he was above Summer League and played for us. Just to show like, hey, look, I'm committed to what Coach Fizdale's trying to do in terms of his vision. I love that. Mitchell Robinson. Mm-hmm. So the things that I was a little disappointed with, Mitch Robinson not taking any shots. You know, they keep talking about his threes and he keeps talking it up, but, you know, this was a perfect time for him to literally get something in game time wise, right? You know, just take the three. It doesn't matter if it's a air ball that misses, you know, 15 feet out, like, or, you know, 27 feet out, and you shoot it and it's like 10 feet away from the basket. Who cares? Shoot the shot. We need you to be somewhat potent on offense, or give us something on offense. So when you're near the foul line or at the 3-point line, it's not the just normal give and go kind of handoff offense that we all seen you do. You know what I mean? So we know what you can do on defense. You already shown that. You know what you can do on the pick and roll offense. We already seen that. Again, me and you talked about this with Frank. You know, I still take up the side that I'm disappointed that Frank didn't play for us. I take it that even if you're good in the NBA, say Frank pans out, he's great in the NBA, I think France will forgive him because it'd be like, hey, look, you're doing what you have to do for the team, and look, you're good now, so we're going to pick you up whenever you play in the Olympics or these FIBA games, whatever. I was a little disappointed in that because, you know, if Kadeem Allen could do it, you know, I think Frank should have shown that, hey, look, I'm committed to the team and committed to what Fizdale's trying to implement, and I'm here to kind of, you know, adapt, and he needs to adapt right now. As much as we like him, he needs to adapt. So all in all, I thought it was a B. I would have liked to see a little bit more from Amir Hinton. Some of these G League guys, give him some more time because, again, these games are kind of meaningless. So I would have liked to see more minutes from him in the later games. I know the win is nice, but again, these are meaningless games. So yeah, just, you know, a little. And I heard the Wilkes kid, he said he was sick. This probably doesn't affect my grade, but I heard that he said he was sick, but then someone said that he's taking like hundreds of selfies and stuff, which stuff like that just kind of rubs me the wrong way. So again, these guys are probably going to start in the G League. Oh, they're most likely going to start in the G League. Probably are going to start in the G League. But all in all, a B. Maybe a B plus if RJ was put in the point guard position early on just to experiment. But all in all, a solid B. I like what I saw.
Okay.
From some of the guys. I also like what I saw from Knox too. I thought Knox being more aggressive, driving to the basket, a little bit more leverage, and using his strength, rebounding. You know, the Knox thing, ESPN kills us, but they don't show the number of possessions where Knox looked like a kind of like a grizzled vet driving to the basket, using his elbows to kind of create space and perfectly hitting off the backboard. So I like what I saw, man.
Now, one thing that I do want to clear up, and I still got you live, Guillermo. I do want to clear this up. When Alonzo Trier went out after the first game, he didn't play the second game. He was sick. I guess there were somebody somewhere in the Knicks universe put out there that Alonzo Trier was, he didn't play because he was drunk the night before, and he was sick and all that. He was sick because he was drunk. And I want to clear it up because I actually got a text from somebody close to Alonzo Trier. If people don't know, there is people from Alonzo Trier's family that do come into our chat every once in a while. And she wanted it to be very clear that Alonzo Trier was legitimately sick. And that's the reason why he did not play. And just wanted to really quell those rumors, that he was out drinking and all that kind of stuff. And that's the reason why he was not able to play. So I just want to put out there and kind of quell those rumors. He is legitimately sick with a fever and his throat is hurting badly, and it's nothing to do with alcohol, as someone indicated that he was hungover. So I wanted to clear that up because, you don't want that kind of stuff to get out if it's not true. You don't want that kind of stuff to get out about the young man. You know what I mean?
Right, and it seems from Alonzo Trier, even though again we talked about this, the ISO basketball over dribbling, that stuff kind of hurt. But then when I saw the quote where he said that guys aren't playing in the summer league, I was really happy with when he said it, because we talked about this. I felt the same way, and I think that I don't know how far it goes in terms of him changing his personality or his persona, whatever, because we heard about the alleged fights or incidents last year, but a guy who's shown that, hey, look, the so-called lowest form of basketball for these guys, you're not above it. I'm not above it. None of these guys are really above it unless you're a superstar or a veteran in the game. That kind of shows like, hey, like he's not this this guy who's just in the game for the fame and the money, or at least on the surface, that's what it seems. So I'm happy you said that. And the whole drunk thing, I'm happy that, you're able to clear that up, because again, people will run with it. This is the type of stuff that it might trickle on Twitter, and then it might trickle into even in an ESPN personality. How ESPN loves to gas up stories without checking their homework. And then all of a sudden, or they might build this up and say we trade Trier, or there's an incident later on that has nothing to do with this. And they'll tie this and say, well, there was early on in Summer League, it was heard that Alonzo Trier was drinking, before a game, blah, blah. And how they like to kill the Knicks. So,
right.
But it's very, very good that you cleared that up. And, if he's sick, he's sick, So
yeah,
it just sucks that we couldn't see him play. And I would love to see him play and see if he changed that ISO game, because, again, the last two games, I understand we played the Lakers, whatever, and then the Wizards. And it seemed like a different type of brand of basketball amongst everybody, right? I mean, the Lakers game, it was just that Knox and RJ got hot. But in that last game, there's a lot more movement. It seemed like a more fluid form of basketball. And I would love to see if Trier could adapt his game. Because, look, Sim, if Trier can adapt his game, we have another option at the one guard. You have another option you could put at times at the two guard. And so you can play around this game. At times you're going to need him to score. At times you're going to need him to facilitate and be a scoring threat at the same time, but facilitate off that scoring threat. So I would have loved to see him come in and adapt and be that more of a versatile player. But, it is what it is. We'll see him in preseason, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll get a chance to see him in preseason. All right, well, I'm going to come over here to Nick. And then my man, he still has guest on his name. If you could, get him, if someone...
Oh, Lord. Don't let Sim kick you out, man. Change your name, man.
Get him to put his name on there. You know what I mean? So because I don't know who... I'm not sure of his name. I forgot his name already. Nick, I'm coming to you, man.
Me or Nick?
Nick G. You.
All right.
Yeah. So what was your take on Summer League?
My take on Summer League, man, it's similar to Gamble, man. I was impressed, and look, I'm the person that I really don't care about year one stuff. Like last year was year one. This is year two. To me, when we hired Fizdale, I was all about a 5-year plan.
Okay.
And like for me, when I listen to Fizdale speak, and when I look at the team and stuff, I want to see gradual, consistent progression. Like the way Kevin Knox played, man, that's so inspiring, man. Like that kind of jump, that kind of confidence he played with, it's why he was a top 10 pick, and everyone, we all gravitate, at least with the way how the news cycle is, everyone gravitates to this. If it's not hot like day one, everyone drops it. Like Zion has to have a great game day one. Let's say Zion only scored 5 points his first game at the Knicks. Everyone would say he's a bust. And people are already starting to say he's a bust because he didn't play the rest of the games. Like, RJ Barrett, everyone was saying he's a bust. And then after that, the kid started to improve every single game. He got a double-double every single game. So it's not about day one, man. It's all about what can you do at the end of the season. I love the fact that they progressively grew. Like these kids, they're growing. I hope Alonzo Trier grows too, but like, man, I'm just happy with what I've seen. Even if you say like they didn't win Summer League because of the coaching made them improve every single game.
That's true. That is true. Yep. That is.
And these guys hadn't played in a long time, much less played with each other, all of them, in a long time.
Yeah. That's definitely true. You know, the coaching, and you could see the coaching, you could see the development throughout each game. You know, they're getting a little bit more continuity, a little bit more chemistry. You could definitely see that. So there's definitely, you know, some coaching going on. Although I am still concerned about the pick and roll stuff. You know, hopefully it's just because they hadn't played together. You know, summer league, they haven't played together.
On the defensive end?
On the defensive end, yeah. Yeah, I feel like I just feel like we struggled in that category, in that area, in the pick and roll defense throughout summer league. It got a little bit better towards the end, but I still felt like we struggled.
So the way I saw it, like at least with RJ, he struggled with the concept of hedging. And Mitch does that too. He always goes after the block. He doesn't look to contain the play sometimes. So like Kevin Knox gambled a lot and reached out for passes he didn't need to reach out for. They didn't communicate a lot off the hedge. And, you know, you want like a floor general that would like whip guys into place. And this is where Taj Gibson comes into that will play a big role, because the best hedger or the best teacher of the hedge was Tom Thibodeau. So him being so experienced in the hedge concept of containing pick and roll, he could teach guys a lot. But we got to see it. It's going to take training camp. It's going to take guys getting in shape. It's going to take guys, you know, it's going to take a lot, man. It's not going to be day one.
No, I agree with you, definitely. And I like what you said about that Tom Thibodeau, man, with Taj Gibson coming from that school of Taj Thibodeau type of defense, that mentality, that hard nose. I really do like that. And he'll be able to help these guys. That's the one thing I'll say. Last year, we didn't have veterans that was going to really help the young guys to be able to play defense, understand what they needed to do, and just be hard-nosed, good defenders with a strong mentality. This year, we got guys that can help those guys. So, I'm excited about having those guys there. I would have liked to see, you know, I mean, does it bother you at all that, you know, possibly definitely three rotation guys were in summer league and, you know, we didn't perform better from the beginning? I mean, who knows what would have happened in the Pelicans game? You know?
Yeah, but you see, the thing is that, okay, like the Pelican game, we started to come back too. Like RJ pressed the first two games. He was finding himself. Like if RJ played the way he played in the Laker game in game one, calm, cool, collected, I'm running the show, I'll make decisions with the ball. Who's to say what happened? Because to me, Kadeem Allen, that first game, he didn't play a good point guard game. Like to me, he didn't run the show like, I'm the experienced one, go where I tell you to go, and I'll direct the show. And then even with that, like they gained continuity as summer league went on. And this is just guys they pick off the scrap heap, and then also guys that they just coming back together. Like it's not like these guys were practicing defensive concepts between the end of the season to now. Like, you know, it's different. And I think that they could get it. They will get it over time. And then who's to say that what Brad Stevens taught Morris, he can't bring that into the fold, and they could add something to a Tom Thibodeau type defense. Great. Like there's so much experience coming in. Like Reggie Bullock also played for Stan Van Gundy. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, it's so much coming in, and you just got to think about it. Heck, Alfred Payton played for a very good offensive coach. Mm-hmm. You know, it's a lot of experience to bring on to these young guys, and I hope they embrace that mentorship role. That's the big thing. They have to embrace that role.
Yeah, but I gave them a C+, and the reason why I gave them a C+ is one, because of the context of, you know, the fact that they wanted to win summer league. They wanted to win the championship. That was one of their goals, and they didn't accomplish it. I know a lot of people don't put a lot of stock into summer league. You know, I put a little bit more than maybe some other people, because I like to get that. I like to get the taste of winning in the players' mouths. That's me. I like them to get that taste. and that, that little bit of hunger for winning, because we had, you got Mitchell Robinson, Kevin Knox, Alonzo Trier, RJ Barrett, Ignas Brazdeikis. All of those guys are on the roster. That's like 1/3, 2/3, 1/3 of your roster right there. That's 1/3 of your roster. And I want these guys to get a taste of winning. And the fact that they said that they wanted to win it, I put a little stock in that. I didn't like the defense all the time. I thought that they did hustle. They played hard. They went through, up and down. They were kind of up and down with the playing hard. I did see them relax sometimes. But I wanted to see, I like to win. And it has to start someplace. But I get it. I'm not tripping and bugging or thinking that we're going to have a bad season or a horrible season because we didn't win Summer League. The end all be all doesn't mean much. But I didn't like the defense. I didn't like the pick and roll defense. Although I did see them develop throughout Summer League. So C+ I think is fair from me. And then as a final grade for the offseason, my final grade, as soon as I get it over here, is a B. I think that's a decent final grade. When you take all of everything into consideration, and if you average out the draft, which is an A, free agency, which is a B, Summer League, which is a C+, it ends up being about a B. Not a bad offseason for the Knicks. I think it's an offseason where the Knicks, established themselves as in my opinion, as a competent organization. An organization that is able to maintain and is able to pivot nicely, is able to adjust on the fly, or they're just prepared to adjust. So I think they established themselves as a competent, a pretty competent executive team. The Knicks just released the preseason schedule, and Zion Williamson tops it off. Let's take a look at it. October the 7th, the Knicks play the Washington Wizards in D.C., and I will be at that game. Hopefully, I can get a couple of people that are in the Maryland area to join me at that game. October the 11th, the Knicks play the Wizards at the Garden. October the 16th, the Knicks play the Hawks at the Garden. And then October the 18th, the Knicks will take on Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans. That game should pretty much be electric. The first time Zion Williamson and RJ Barrett get to match off in a game at the Garden. Should be a good one, a big one. A good way to top off the preseason. I'm a little bit disappointed they didn't get to play the Nets in the preseason. Maybe we'll see it early on in the regular season. The regular season schedule should be released in August. And when it's released, we'll go over it, look at some key games, and have some fun with it. Do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, ring that notification bell. You'll be notified anytime I go live, drop a video, or post in my community section. I know you want to stay updated on the Knicks, so make sure you subscribe right now. You see opening night, October the 26th versus Boston. All right, and of course, that's going to be that's opening night at MSG, ladies and gentlemen. At MSG, that's opening night. Okay, that's always a big night at MSG. And as a matter of fact, that's the night that we are selling tickets. We're selling tickets for opening night. So make sure you get your tickets. Reserve them now, because now that this schedule is out and people know that opening night is a Saturday night, October the 26th versus Boston, these tickets are going to go fast. So make sure you get them. All right. The road opener, the first game of the season, is versus the San Antonio Spurs, October the 23rd. All right, you got New Year's Day, January 1st versus Portland. You got Martin Luther King Day, Monday, January 20th at Cleveland. So that's one thing we'll talk about, because the Knicks usually have, it's at Cleveland, the Knicks usually have a Martin Luther King matinee day at home. You can usually look forward to that. All-Star Weekend is February 14th through the 16th at the United Center in Chicago. All right. How many consecutive home games do the Knicks have? From February 29th to March 8th, they have 5 consecutive home games. There's 5 consecutive road games. 4 games, they do it twice. All right. Then you got some Rangers/Knicks doubleheaders at MSG Sunday, November 10th versus Cleveland and versus the Florida Panthers. Okay. In October, the Knicks play 5 games in October. They play 14 games in November, 14 games in December, 16 games in January, 11 games in February, 14 in March. They play 8 games in April. And we're hoping that these 8 games, these 14 games in March and those 8 games in April are meaningful. The Knicks play 12 games on Sunday, 9 games on Monday, 9 games on Tuesday, 19 games on Wednesday, 6 games on a Thursday, 15 games on Fridays, and 12 games on Saturdays. So 15 times you're going to get to hear the Friday Night Knicks song. Okay. The Knicks have 3 home and away back-to-back sets, 3 away home back-to-back sets, 6 away back-to-back sets, and 1 home and home back-to-back set. Right? So that's the Knicks schedule in a nutshell. The national television schedule. On November the 14th, the Knicks play Dallas. On November the 26th, they play December the 26th, they're at Brooklyn. That's on TNT. On January 10th versus New Orleans, that's on ESPN. So the Knicks play 3 nationally televised games this season. Only 3 nationally televised games. And of course, if you go to the Knicks PR Twitter, twitter.com/Knicks_PR, you can get this information yourself. But what I want to do, ladies and gentlemen, is I really want to take a look and break down these back-to-backs because I'm not sure where the 13 back-to-backs are. So I'm a little lost there where these 13 back-to-backs are. So I'm going to look at it once more, and you guys let me know if I missed something because I'm not sure where they are. So this is the schedule. You can get this schedule. You can go to NewYorkKnicks.com and you can download the Knicks season schedule. All right. Not only can you download the Knicks season schedule, but you can also put it on your calendar. You can make it go automatically to your calendar so you can never miss a Knicks game. Now, let's take a look. I'm counting up the back-to-backs. You guys let me know if I'm missing something. So in October, I see 1 back-to-back right here. So that's 1. November. Now we're going through this slowly with a fine-tooth comb. No back-to-backs in November. Tell me if I'm wrong, but I see no back-to-backs in November. In December, there's a back-to-back. So now we're at 2 back-to-backs. There's another back-to-back in December. We're at 3 back-to-backs. Now there's another back-to-back. We're at 4 back-to-backs so far. All right, there's 3 back-to-backs in December. All right, so now we're going on down to January. Now, here's January 1st. Remember, the 31st is right here. Okay, so these 2, there's not a back-to-back there. So far, we've got 4 back-to-backs. January here, 5 back-to-backs. Still going. 6 back-to-backs at the end of January. There's a back-to-back. All right, now we're into February. No back-to-backs before the All-Star break. Now there's a back-to-back after the All-Star break. So far we're at 1. None in November. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 back-to-back so far. Okay, now in March, there's a back-to-back. There's 3 back-to-backs in March. So this is 8. This is 9. This is 10. In April, I see 11. So somebody tell me where I'm wrong here. Somebody tell me where I'm wrong. Someone said November. I counted November. I don't see a back-to-back in November. I don't see a back-to-back in November. There's a back-to-back in November. I'm trying to find it. I don't see it. Remember, when you see games on top of each other, that's not back-to-back. They got to be side by side to be back-to-back. November games side by side is back-to-back. And I just don't see one in November. I'm looking at the schedule, unless the schedule that I have is wrong. You said I'm intentionally missing November. I'm pointing to November right now, folks. 1 back-to-back in November, huh? Well, maybe the schedule that I'm looking at, maybe what I downloaded from the New York Knicks website is wrong. Because what I'm looking at, I don't see one in November. I don't see one in November at all. As a matter of fact, I'll even make this a little bit bigger so we can all see it. So now I'm pointing at November. 1st, 2nd, no back-to-back. 3rd, 4th, no back-to-back. 5th, 6th, no back-to-back. 7th, 8th, no back-to-back. I don't know. 10th, 11th, no back-to-back. 12th, 13th, no back-to-back. 14th, 15th, no back-to-back. 16th, 17th, no back-to-back. 18th, 19th, no back-to-back. November 23rd and 24th. Ah, there it is. Okay, I missed that one. Yes. November 23rd and 24th. There we go. Good. Okay, I missed that. Great. Okay, November 23rd and 24th. There we go. Oh, okay, so that's 12. So there's another one that I missed somewhere. There's another one that I missed somewhere. So that's good to know. All right, you know what? So I'm just going to take it that they're right. That they got 13 back-to-backs. I'm not going to argue with it. Once I found that I was wrong, I was wrong. No sense in even going any further. No sense in even going any further. They must be correct because I probably missed one of those somewhere else along the line. Somewhere in there. All right. February. Oh, that's what someone said. Yeah, February right here. Detroit and Atlanta. Saturday and Sunday. So that's 13 right there before the All-Star break. I didn't have one before the All-Star break. So there we go. Good. All right. So the Knicks have 13 back-to-backs. See? Trust the professionals, Sim. The Knicks have 13 back-to-backs this season. They also have a number of 4 games and 6 nights on some of these back-to-backs. Now, I'm not even going to go over the number that I had. I think I had 10 4 games and 6 nights. It might be a little bit more knowing that, they have these, I missed a couple of back-to-backs. All right. Looking at these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Nope, that's not. And now let's look at the one in February. In February, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, so the Knicks have about 10 4 games and 6 nights. All right. If my number is wrong, it's wrong, but I'm gonna look at what I have.
Wait, what'd you say? I couldn't hear you, Eddie. What'd you say your favorite country was? Isaiah. And of course, this guy comes in, making noise in the background. Isaiah. Hey, what's up? What's up, son?
You can't come in when Andy lets you in. You can't come in talking because you don't come in unmuted. You come in.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought you let me in.
I'm telling you, sometimes you gotta stop running that trap. All right. But anyway, we just so we broke down. So we broke down. Now we know. Yes, the Knicks have 13 back-to-backs. I was definitely wrong. Looking at the schedule again, like I said, the Knicks have about 10 sets of 4 games and 6 nights. Right? That can be, that can be very tough. That can be brutal. When you're playing those 4 games and 6 nights. Now, of course, a lot of them come on nights when they have back-to-backs. Right? And when they had those back-to-backs, you have the naturally you're at least going to play 3 games and 4 nights, and then there's nights, of course, when you're playing, like I said, 4 games and 6 nights. As soon as I get my graphic, I'm going to pull it up, right? But that's a tough deal, man, and I'm interested to see how some of these young guys are going to be able to deal with that. Because that's not a slouch schedule. RJ Barrett, Ignas Brazdeikis, how can they deal with these 4 games and 6 nights? Because that's a serious schedule. We see, and this is the reason why each year you have rookies who hit the so-called rookie wall, right? Because you have those nights when it's 4 games and 6 nights and 3 games and 4 nights and all those type of things. All right. You just look at this right here. Forget about this schedule where it says back-to-backs, right? Obviously, we went over it. There's 13 back-to-backs. Okay, because we looked at the schedule. What I want you to focus on right now is the 3 games and 4 nights. You got October 25th, 26th, 28th, and the 30th. That's 4 games and 6 nights. November 27th, 29th, December 1st and 2nd, 4 games and 6 nights. December 10th, 11th, 13th, and 15th, 4 games and 6 nights. December 3rd, 5th, 7th, 8th, 4 games and 6 nights. January 24th, 26th, 28th, 29th, 4 games and 6 nights. February 24th, 26th, 27th, 29th. March 8th, 10th, 11th, and 13th. March 23rd, 25th, 27th, 28th. April 10th, 12th, 14th, and 15th. All of these right here are 3 games and 4 nights. And again, the back-to-backs are 11, ladies and gentlemen, not 13. All right, I missed a back-to-back in November 23rd and 24th, and I missed a back-to-back in February just before the All-Star game. All right, so please remember that. That there, ladies and gentlemen, that's a lot, in my opinion. And maybe, I never really paid attention to it last year, so maybe it was more last year because the Knicks played more back-to-back games last year. They played 15. So maybe they had more games that were 4 games and 6 nights. Maybe they did. I don't know. All right, 10 games that I want to see on the schedule. I'm going to talk about 10 games that I want to see, and then we're going to get into it and talk about this schedule with everyone. All right, but there's definitely a few key games out there that I think everyone's going to be excited about. Right? Of course, beginning the season, the Knicks jumped right off from the beginning of the season right from the beginning of the season, and I'm going to bring this up once more so we can look at it. Right from the beginning of the season, you see the Knicks are playing right from the jump 3 games and 4 nights. Actually, 4 games and 6 nights right from the beginning of the season. They play San Antonio. That's the season opener. Then they go to Brooklyn. Then Boston. Then they're home for Boston. That's the season. That's the home opener. They get a day off and then they play home versus Chicago. So right there, right to begin this season, you got 4 games in 6 nights, ladies and gentlemen. San Antonio, Brooklyn, Boston, Chicago. And you're playing right off the jump, right off the bat, the Knicks are playing 3 playoff teams right off the bat. You San Antonio, Brooklyn, and Boston. And after they play Chicago, Orlando, you have Orlando as well, who potentially I think is probably a playoff team. So that's right off the bat. The Knicks are going to be challenged right off the bat. Right off the bat. All right, then you can see the rest of the schedule. October, the rest of October, Chicago, Orlando. You got Boston again in November. Sacramento, Detroit, Dallas. I'm pretty sure people are circling that on their calendar. The Knicks are away for that first game in Dallas. They don't play Dallas in Madison Square Garden until November the 14th. December looks like a tough month. I mean, November is not too bad. You got a few guys that, you can maybe get some wins. Sacramento, Detroit, maybe Dallas, Cleveland, Chicago, Dallas again, Charlotte, Cleveland. Philadelphia will be tough. San Antonio is going to be tough. Brooklyn should be tough. Toronto should be tough. Philadelphia should be tough. So you end November with a tough schedule. Then November is a tough schedule. December is a tough schedule. You have Boston, Milwaukee, Denver, Indiana, Portland, Golden State. So that the end of November going into December is a tough stretch. You're playing against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 playoff teams in a row. And then Sacramento, it's not like Sacramento that should be a tough game as well. So in a row, that November to December, it's like they're looking to ruin Thanksgiving for the Knicks with this schedule right here. It's a tough schedule, man. That's a tough schedule. Again, you got Philadelphia, San Antonio, Brooklyn, Toronto, Philadelphia, Boston, Milwaukee, Denver, Indiana, Portland, Golden State. That's a tough schedule, that November to December schedule, man. That's a tough one. And that right there could be an early make or break time for the Knicks. Could be an early make or break time for them, my friends. An early one. After December, after the Knicks play Sacramento, they move on. They play Denver, Atlanta, Miami, Milwaukee, Washington, Brooklyn, Washington again. So the schedule gets a little bit lighter. Gets just a little bit lighter. Right? When you move into January, they'll start off with Portland. Then you got Phoenix. All right. Then you have a little bit of a tough schedule. You got the Lakers, the Clippers, and the Lakers. So they'll be staying in LA for a little while. Right? You got a West Coast trip here in the beginning of January. Phoenix, Clippers, Lakers, Utah. You got 3 tough teams right in a row. The Clippers, Lakers, and Utah. Then the Pelicans, they should be tough. I think they might be tough. Then you got Miami and Milwaukee. All right, so, in the beginning of January, you're playing some tough teams. You got Phoenix twice, but in between playing Phoenix, you got some tough teams in the Clippers, the Lakers, Utah, Pelicans, Miami, and Milwaukee. Then after you play Phoenix that second time, you got Philadelphia. Right, you got a couple. You got Cleveland, you got Chicago, but in between those guys, you got the Lakers again, Toronto, Brooklyn, and Memphis. Memphis might be kind of weak. So we'll see. And I'm not gonna go. Maybe next time we'll go line for line and try to predict what the Knicks might win. Not today, not right now. As you go into February, looking at the schedule, the Knicks have a couple winnable games. Cleveland, maybe Orlando. I don't know. Orlando is tough. Atlanta, Washington, Charlotte, Chicago. So maybe there's some winnable games in February. In March, maybe a mixed bag. You got Houston, Utah, OKC, Detroit. Those should be some tough games. That's a homestand. You got a 5-game homestand. And then you play Washington, Atlanta, Miami. That should be a tough game. Charlotte shouldn't be too tough. You got Boston, Golden State, Clippers, Toronto, and Pelicans. So you got a stretch here in March. If the Knicks are in playoff contention at this late stage in March, this is going to be a tough stretch for them right here. Right, we're talking the middle of March. If the Knicks are in playoff contention, this is going to be a tough stretch. Boston, Golden State, Clippers, Toronto, and Pelicans. Those 5 teams, at least 4 of those teams, Boston, Golden State, the Clippers, Toronto, at least 4 of those teams are going to be in playoff contention. We'll see what happens with the Pelicans. If the Knicks are anywhere in playoff contention, this could be a stretch that knocks them out or gets them in. And then in April, you're going to end with Memphis, Minnesota, Miami, Orlando, OKC, Toronto, Detroit, Minnesota again. So that April schedule isn't too bad. If the Knicks are anywhere in playoff contention and they can fight through and weather through this March schedule, if they're near, they can weather through it, then get to this April schedule. Who knows what could happen, man? Maybe something bounces their way. We'll see what happens there. But this is the New York Knicks schedule, ladies and gentlemen. Again, you can download this schedule. Just go to NewYorkKnicks.com and you can download this schedule. NewYorkKnicks.com. Download the schedule. I have a couple games that I want to see on the schedule that I'm excited for. And I want to bring these over. Okay. Before I bring these over, though, I do want to remind you, since we're talking about the schedule, ladies and gentlemen, and I know you probably get tired of hearing it, but I'm going to remind you until all these tickets are gone. Sorry. But you can purchase tickets to the opening night game at Madison Square Garden. Reserve them now. I'm telling you, reserve them now. Get in on it now, ladies and gentlemen, because if you don't get in on it now, you're going to miss out. All right. And when you do purchase these tickets, when you put down your deposit, you're putting down a deposit for a lounge. Food is included. Not only is there a lounge, but you'll be able to enjoy the company of other NBK fans of the channel. You'll be able to enjoy their company. You'll also be able to go courtside before the game and watch the guys warm up. After the game, you'll get a chance to go down to the court, shoot a couple free throws on the Garden Court. All right. That's something you don't want to miss, ladies and gentlemen. I know you don't. So make sure that you make your deposits. Just go to nothingbutnicks.com right now, and you can make your deposit, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Do that. Get it done. Get it over with. So you don't have to hear me continue to talk about it. And I'm pretty sure that you'll be happy with making your deposits and getting your tickets now before they're gone, because they will be gone soon enough. All right, let's talk about 10 must-see games. That's what I want to talk about right now. 10 must-see games. Games that you just can't miss out on. Let's take a look at them, ladies and gentlemen. At least this is what I think. October the 23rd versus San Antonio, at San Antonio. To me, it's a must-see game. Why? Because it's the first game of the season. Anytime you have a first game of the season, you want to see it. You want to see it, right? You're going to have the preseason, and then you want to get in and you want to see this first game of the season. You want to see how they're going to look, right? You want to see if they're going to look good, they're going to look bad, whatever. And they're playing a tough team. They're playing the San Antonio Spurs. October the 25th versus Brooklyn. They'll be at the Barclays Center. That's the first time that the Knicks are going to match off against Kyrie Irving and the Brooklyn Nets. And there's been so much talk going on this offseason about the Brooklyn Nets taking over New York City, becoming the team in New York City. Knicks fans, I want you to get to this game. Get to this game. and make noise. Make a lot of noise. Mad noise. Make noise. Let them know it's the Knicks town. It's always going to be a Knicks town. The Knicks, October 25th versus Brooklyn. October the 26th versus Boston at home. That is the Garden home opener. You just heard me give you a whole spiel about getting your tickets right now. So don't miss it. October 26th versus Boston. November 8th at Dallas. It'll be the first time that the Knicks face off against Kristaps Porzingis. I know it's not at the Garden, but it's going to be the first time that the Knicks face off against Kristaps Porzingis. And I want to see it. I'm pretty sure you want to see it. Even though it's not going to be at the Garden. November the 14th versus Dallas. That's at the Garden. I know you want to see that one. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be off the hook. You can believe that. It's going to be off the hook, man. Kristaps Porzingis is, I'm pretty sure, going to get booed like crazy by the Garden crowd. You know, they're going to let him know. They're going to let him have it. So that's going to be a heck of a night. That's going to be a crazy night. November the 24th, Brooklyn at home versus Brooklyn. It's going to be the first time Kyrie Irving comes to the Garden as a Brooklyn Net. So that's going to be crazy. Anytime that the Knicks play Brooklyn throughout this season, it's going to be a game. It's going to be an exciting game, a big game that you want to see. But the first two are going to be the most raucous, the most ruckus, right? You know, the first one in Brooklyn, October the 25th. That's the second game of the season. So, you know, that's going to be, you know, it's going to be big, especially if the Knicks are able to get a win versus San Antonio. It's definitely going to be big. And then the second time they play Brooklyn, November the 24th, is going to be at the Garden. So it's going to be big. November the 27th in Toronto. It's the first time that RJ Barrett is going to return to Canada as a New York Knick, as a professional basketball player. So, you know, that's, for Knicks fans, maybe it's kind of like, but for RJ Barrett, that's going to be a big night. Right? So we need to be there. So we need to support the brother. Make sure we're tuning in and watching him. January 5th at the Clippers. January 7th at the Lakers. And I have these two down. I know they're not at the Garden. And some people would say, well, don't you think seeing them at the Garden for the first time is bigger than them being in LA? But the reason why I did it is because the Knicks are playing these two teams back to back. They're going to stay at the same arena, play the Clippers, and then play the Lakers. So, you know, I have those. So I personally want to see how the Knicks respond to playing these two teams back to back. You know, having the young guys there and those type of things. Right. But, you know, if you want to say, you know, the other dates later on in January, the Lakers will be at the Garden. LeBron James coming to the Garden. Anthony Davis coming to the Garden for the first time as a Los Angeles Laker. So I can understand if you want to, you know, if you want to say, nah, these are the games. I can get that. As a matter of fact, that's January 22nd when LeBron James and Anthony Davis come to the Garden as a Los Angeles Laker. I can get that. And then March 23rd, that's when the Los Angeles Clippers will come to the Garden. And then January 10th versus the Pelicans. For the first time, Zion Williamson will be at Madison Square Garden as an official NBA player. Well, it's not the first time. They do play against each other in preseason. They play against each other in preseason, but it'll be the first time in an official NBA game that Zion Williamson steps on the Garden floor to play the Knicks. So that's going to be electric. It's going to be big. Zion at the Garden. That's going to be big. And not to mention, Julius Randle will also be playing against his former team, the New Orleans Pelicans. So that should be a big game, an exciting game to watch. Exciting game to watch. So that's my 10 must-see games of the season. And as the season goes on, there may be more. Who knows what's going to happen. All right. And I also didn't mention that on October 26th, when the Celtics come to the Garden, not only is it the home opener, but Kemba Walker will play at the Garden as a Celtic for the first time. All right. So there you go, man. Those are my 10 must-see games. I want to know what your must-see games are. Games that you're really looking forward to seeing throughout this season. All right. So I'm going to come to the chat. I'll also take some calls if you want to call in. 516-405-2246. And we can talk about it a little bit. Again, my 10 must-see games. October 23rd, San Antonio. October 25th, Brooklyn. October 26th at the Garden versus Boston, the season opener at the Garden. November 8th at Dallas. November 14th at home versus Dallas. November 24th at home versus Brooklyn. November 27th at Toronto. RJ Barrett returns to Canada. January 5th at the Clippers. January 7th at the Lakers in the same arena. And then January 10th, Zion Williamson will come to the Garden. So let me know, ladies and gentlemen, let me know what your favorite games of the season are going to be. Because this, look, man, with this team, I feel like we're in for some exciting times. Some fun times. I really do. And, I can't wait to get this thing started. I'm excited. Now that the schedule is out, I'm super excited. You know what I mean? Super duper excited. I'm going to go ahead and get to the video chat. I want to know what you guys think, man. I want to know what you guys, actually, we just got a phone call. So let's go to the phone call first, and then I'll get back to you guys. Caller, you're on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's poppin'?
Hey, what's up, Tim?
Hey, what's going on with you, bro? How you feeling?
Not much. I'm all right. How's everything with you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Real good. So tell me, my man, what are the games that you really want to see this season?
Well, I don't really have a specific games picked out because I just want to see him play. But I just have an observation from what I was looking at the schedule is, and I know we're not breaking down, but so I don't want to get too intricate with it. But the first 20 games, I think, is our only hope.
You said that's
after December 1st, it gets rough.
Not even after December.
Start playing heavy hitters after December 1st.
Well, it's before December 1st. That schedule, like I said earlier, that schedule starting November the 20th is tough. Look, November 20th, we play Philadelphia. November 23rd, we play San Antonio. November 24th, we play Brooklyn. November 27th, we play Toronto. November 29th, we play Philadelphia. December the 1st, we play Boston. December the 2nd, Milwaukee. December the 5th, Denver. December the 7th, Indiana. December the 10th, Portland. December 11th, Golden State. So you're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 games that are all tough games against playoff caliber teams. It's not going to be a joke right there.
No, it's definitely no joke. But I'm only going by the fact where I wanted to, because I'm not giving San Antonio, I'm not giving them a better team than the Knicks off the jump. Same with Brooklyn. Because, if KD was there, I'd give it to him. But KD's not there, and they got rid of Rondé Hollis-Jefferson. They got rid of Trevor Graham, a couple of really nice role players. And Kyrie, I got to see him work with that team. I don't think he's just going to walk in and gel. And same thing with Boston. They just lost Rozier. They lost, Kyrie. They lost Marcus Morris. They lost Al Horford. They replaced Al Horford with cancer. And they lost Aaron Baines. So I think Boston and the Nets are going to take a little time to gel. So I think that's why that first month is going to look like we're going to jump. We're going to jump then. Like
Well, I mean,
we got to go a little better than 500.
I mean, I will say that first month. I mean, I think San Antonio is going to be tough. San Antonio is always tough. San Antonio, I think they're going to be tough. That first month,
they're tough.
Right. Those first 3 games, we played 3 potential playoff teams. Look, Brooklyn and Boston are most likely going to be playoff teams in the East, in my opinion. San Antonio is most likely going to be a playoff team in the West. So you got 3 playoff teams right off the bat. And then you got Orlando in those first 5 games, could likely be a playoff team in the East. You got Chicago. You play Boston again. Now you got Sacramento, Detroit, Dallas, Cleveland. So those are, and then Chicago, and then Dallas, and then Charlotte. So yeah, there are some games in that first 20 that are winnable. Like I said, Chicago, maybe Orlando, Sacramento, Detroit, Dallas, Cleveland, Chicago, Dallas, Charlotte, Cleveland. Okay? So you got, of those first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. The first 14 games, you play against 1, 2, 3, 4 bona fide, just about definite playoff teams. Right? And then you have Detroit, Orlando, who are on the cusp. You know, they could get in, they may not get in. And then the other teams, Cleveland, Chicago, Dallas, we're not sure what they really are. Charlotte, Cleveland, again, you know, those teams, you know, obviously, you know, they could be winnable games for us. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's why I was like, I'm hoping, and you know, it's all hope here. You know, we don't know how good the Knicks are, how good any other team's going to be right today, but that was just my observation. I thought just because they're playoff teams, they were playoff teams last year, but they're not as solid as they were. They didn't come in like the whole, so they're rebounding with the same team. There's a lot of flux, and I'm just the way I look at our team with our players. I just think if we're going to make a move, it'd be nice to see us come out and be, you know, 13 and 7,
Oof.
13 and 7, 12 and 8.
All right. Well, let's do this.
Before we hit those juggernauts, because once we get to December and you got Milwaukee, then Golden State, then Portland, then
well, the juggernauts, in my opinion, 500. Yeah, I mean,
in 10 games under.
In my opinion, the juggernauts begin in November, kind of. You know, not. I know what you're saying with the Portlands and Denvers and Golden States. Maybe and Golden State maybe is not. We'll see what Golden State is. Man, the Knicks played Boston 3 times within the first half of the season. Wow. They played Brooklyn 3 times in the first half of the season.
Yeah, I'd rather play them in the first half before they start to gel.
Yeah, okay. Hey, man, I appreciate the call, bro.
No, thank you very much, Tim. Thank you very much, Tim, and have a good night. Welcome to the chat.
No doubt. Peace. So let's look at that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm glad he brought that up, and I have the season schedule up right now. You know, if you look at the first 20, if you want to look at the first 20, it's kind of a mixed bag. And there is a stretch where the Knicks really could maybe tie together a couple wins early. You know, we'll see. That first, you know, I'm hoping those first 3 games, I'm hoping we can get a win, beat one of those teams, preferably Brooklyn. And we can, you know, we get out of those first 2 games, 1 and 2, you know, and then maybe try to, you know, string something together. Those first 3 games, maybe we're 1 and 2. You got Boston again within that 2-week stretch. You know, maybe you can pull a win off with Boston, and then you got some, you know, some weaker teams that you know, maybe we can string together a couple wins early. So it could be favorable for the Knicks to string together a couple wins early and try to get some confidence under our belt. Caller, you're on live with Nothing But Knicks. What's poppin'?
Black is time. Shout out to the chat. What's good, son?
I'm chilling, man. What's good with you?
I'm good. I was just looking at the schedule with you and shit. Oh my bad. That's nuts. I agree with the last caller. I agree 100%. Them first 20 games is gonna be crucial. The end of December gets nasty, and then December and January is rough. Back to backs. 4 games in 6 nights.
Yeah, man. We got it's 3 back-to-backs in December alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 back-to-backs in December alone. That's going to be, not to mention we're playing some tough teams. I mean, 2 of our let's look at our back-to-backs in December. Our back-to-backs, well, first of all, our back-to-backs in October, we play 1 back-to-back in October. That's Brooklyn and Boston, playoff teams. Right? In November, the back-to-back that I missed earlier, playoff teams, San Antonio and Brooklyn, both playoff teams. Right? And then when you get into December, and we play the first back-to-back in December, the first and the second, 2 playoff teams, Boston and Milwaukee. Then in the middle of December, I think it's the 10th and the 11th, 2 more playoff teams, Portland and Golden State. Then when we get towards, closer to the end of the month, play 2 more playoff teams. Potentially, Miami is potentially a playoff team. Right? The 20th and the 21st, you play Miami and Milwaukee back to back. Yo, that's tough, man. That's tough. So our first 5 back-to-backs are against potential playoff teams. Our first 5 back-to-backs. And I mean every single team of those back-to-back sets will probably make the playoffs or will have a very, very good chance of making the playoffs in their respective conferences. It's tough.
Yeah, this schedule kind of put my win total and dropped my win total for us.
Yo,
I was a little optimistic before the schedule, but
yo, it's tough. Yeah. And then in January, our first back-to-back in January is the Lakers and the Utah Jazz. Right? I mean that, and not to mention like that week you're playing the Clippers, you get a day off, then you play the Lakers, then right after you play the Lakers, you go to Utah and you play the Jazz. So you're playing 3 tough teams. And you're playing 2 defensive teams that's going to grind it out with the Clippers and the Jazz. That's tough. We don't get a rest with the back-to-backs as far as playing tough teams until we play Charlotte and Memphis later on in January. So those are 2 weaker teams on a back-to-back. And then in February, one of the back-to-backs that I missed, we played Detroit and Atlanta. That's 2 weaker teams on a back-to-back. Then later in February, you play Charlotte and Philadelphia. So you got 1 weak team, 1 good team. Then in March, you play Washington and Atlanta. You play Charlotte and Boston. Then you play the Pelicans in Chicago. So it evens out a little bit towards the later part of the schedule. But man, that early part of the schedule with those back-to-backs, man, that's crucial. That's crucial.
Yeah. It's tough, yo. It's almost like the people who was predicting the total wins for us seen the schedule before we did. Because
yeah. You know what I mean?
It didn't make any sense, but now it kind of does. Like, unless we really overachieve or come out the gate smoking hot to give us some kind of cushion. A
little bit of cushion
for the 2 months.
Yeah.
2.5 months.
It's definitely going to be a challenge, man, with some of the back-to-backs that we got to play. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be challenging, but let's see.
A couple of the games I want to call out. Definitely the Boston game, the Brooklyn games. I think I want to try to go to that Brooklyn game that's on the back-to-back. I think it's before the Pelicans at the Garden.
Mm-hmm.
I want to potentially go to that one. I want to see the Pelicans, of course. Take a look. I'm not even interested in seeing us against the powerhouses per se, unless we're overachieving. Unless we come out the gate and we doing something, then I'll be intrigued. So I really want to see our young guys versus the other younger teams, Atlanta. Who else we got? Dallas, of course.
Yeah, man. I mean, I do want to see us play against the big dogs. I just enjoy seeing us play against the big, especially if we're doing well. If we're doing well and we look like we're shaking things up, I definitely want to see us play against the big dogs. I can understand what you're saying, though. We're not doing well. We're not overachieving. We're playing like some trash. You don't want to see us get blown out that quick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to watch every game, but, I'm not going to be, if I got to work or leave work, I might just stay at work and catch the second half.
Yeah.
A little bit more this year.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you on that, man. But hey, Tony, are you able to join us in the appearance?
Not at this moment. If you, in about a half hour, if you're still gonna be on, I could probably jump on.
All right. Well, yeah. Let's see if you can maybe get on about a half. See if you can get on. I'm about to get to these guys and see what they think about the schedule.
No doubt. Shout out to the chat. Go Black this time.
Peace.
What?
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Although every team plays the same teams, the way that your schedule is constructed could be tough. So let's get to these guys. I want to see what these guys initial reactions. Nate, go ahead, man. What's your initial reaction? What'd you think?
Oh man, they didn't do a favor for the Knicks, that's for sure. They never do, really. A lot of back-to-backs.
13.
A lot of you said 4 games, and there's like how many 4 games in 6 nights?
I mean, about 10. About 10 of them. Maybe it's a little more, whatever. I have to look at it again. But I think it's about 10 sets of 4 games in 6 nights.
Yeah. For a young team that can be good and bad in the sense that you build camaraderie and, cohesion. But it's also bad in the sense that, you can get injured too. Those young legs, they're going to hit that wall and, who knows where their bodies are going to be at that point. So it could take a toll on them. There's no doubt about that. I think one thing we never talk about with the schedule is that the Knicks are always going to have a rough March and April because the Garden is rented out for the Big East tournament. And the Knicks have to go on the road every time. So no matter what, the Knicks are always going to have a tough situation unless they move the tournament somewhere else, which I don't think that's ever going to happen. So the Knicks are going to be on the road. Usually they go on their West Coast trip around that time. So,
let me see. The Knicks go on a West Coast trip.
It's usually that week when the tournaments happen, right before March Madness.
Well, they go on a West Coast trip in January. Right? You got Phoenix, the Clippers, the Lakers, and Utah. Then they go on not a West Coast trip, but an East Coast trip in March.
That's it.
Washington,
that's it right there.
Atlanta and Miami.
Yeah. Okay, so that's probably the equivalent. I guess they change it up. Usually it's sometimes a West Coast trip, but I guess they did an East Coast trip this time. So, still games on the road, back to and multiple games on the road, that's always going to be tough, especially if you're vying for a playoff seed.
Yeah. And the thing is, though, they're playing those games on the road. Washington is weak. Atlanta is weak. Miami, we'll see what they are. So we'll see.
I mean, the optimist in me wants to say that we'll win some games that people don't expect us to win.
Well,
but the reality is we were the worst team in the NBA. So really no game is a given for us. Yeah. I mean, especially with the younger squad we have. The two games that I'm really excited about, of course, the KP thing, that's going to be crazy. I mean, a year ago, we were calling this guy the franchise player, or some people were, and now he's going to become public enemy number one on the court in the Garden. And then the second game is the Sixers. I want to see the Sixers when they come to the Garden because that game gets chippy.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love for somebody to rough up Joel Embiid, man. I can't stand that guy.
Well, I mean,
I really don't like him at all.
Yeah. The Knicks have kind of a different team, so we'll see if it still gets chippy. I wanted to talk to Kodak Vlog, I think that's his name, in the chat real quick because you said that you're not worried about the 4 games and 6 nights. And I understand what you're saying, Kodak Vlogs. I get exactly what you're saying. You said, because the guys are young and those type of things. So you're not worried about the 4 games and 6 nights. But it's not just 4 games and 6 nights. A lot of times, those games, those four games and 6 nights include travel as well. Like if you look at the very first game, and I know it's not that far, right? But they're in San Antonio, and then they travel to Brooklyn. And then from Brooklyn, so they're basically home back in New York. And then they go to Boston. And then from Boston, then they're home for Boston, home for Chicago. All right, so that's not too bad. All right, but there's still a little bit of travel involved. All right, the next time they do 4 games and 6 nights, it's going to be in December, I think it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, from November going into December. So you're in Toronto, then you're home for Philly, home for Boston, then you fly out to Milwaukee. So I guess that's not too bad either, because after they fly out to Milwaukee, they're home. They get 2 days off, and then they come back home for Denver and Indiana. It's not too bad either. All right, but you got to look at how some of the travel schedule is laid out when they're doing these 2 games, 4 games, and 6 nights. Sometimes it can be tough. It take a toll on. I know you said young guys, but it can take a toll on some of these young guys, especially the RJ Barretts and the Iggies. You know what I'm saying, that may not be used to that type of schedule, especially when you get into that January, February. That's when those guys really start to hit that rookie wall. Right now, we got 2 rookies on the team still. Kevin Knox is young, Alonzo Trier is young guys. These guys burn out a little bit, but the veterans that we have on the team can hopefully teach them how to eat right, get proper rest, do those type of things so that they don't burn out. So let's hope. I hope you're right, Kodak. I hope you're right. I hope that their youth and the veterans being able to show them how to manage those type of things. I hope it comes into play. Still, those 4 games and 6 nights, not a joke. I do a lot of traveling myself. And when I'm just out of my home for 5 nights in a row, you start to get tired just because you're not home. It's weird. It's crazy. It's a weird thing though. Let me see who I'm gonna come to. Guermo, coming to you, man. What's going on, man? Tell me some games you really looking forward to.
There's a few games I'm looking forward to. First of all, that Mavericks game, I'm definitely looking forward to, man. I want to destroy KP. He's probably not going to be 100% healthy, but he's going to feel it. I think there's going to be a few games. There's going to be a few games that he plays in Dallas, and he's going to see that the allure of Dallas is just not the same as New York City. Yeah. So when he comes back, he's going to have that face like, damn, I probably messed up. And hopefully we're a few games above 500 or whatever, and make him feel it. That the Nets game is going to be big, even though it's going to be a premature validation, but it's going to be a game where we got to make a statement where we don't care if you have Kyrie and all that stuff. We got to put a dagger in their chest and keep it there in terms of beating them. I think it's the second game of the season or something like that. So That's going to be a big game. I think there's some other big games. Look, Zion, the Pelicans game, that's going to be huge because it's going to be RJ Barrett versus Zion. I don't know when it happens, but if it happens fairly deep into the season, you're going to get the timeline, or you're going to get the whole narrative of that the Pelicans make a mistake by picking Zion over RJ Barrett. And hopefully it comes out that way because I think RJ Barrett is better than Zion. Zion's going to need a lot of help, a lot of development.
I will say one thing about that team, though. They do have the piece for it, but that's for another day to talk about. And some other big games, man, because everybody talks about, look, we're going to be playing a lot of tough teams early on in the first month or so, whatever, right? But that's going to be a litmus test, right? How well can these guys gel together? How well the veterans are ingratiating themselves to the team? How well they integrate themselves to the team? And how well Fizzo can manage his team. Look, we talk about is the 4 out of 6 nights type of games, blah, blah. We talked about in the chat room, the best way to offset that is, one, you have a game plan where you don't necessarily have a guy playing a lot of minutes every night, or you don't have a guy being the main scorer, right? You kind of pace him. You push him along. Hey, maybe RJ Barrett doesn't go for 20 shots tonight. He still takes the ball. He plays defense. He does other things to kind of keep his mind and his body fresh and do other things to help the team still win. You know what I mean? So a lot of teams like the Lakers I'm looking forward to. That's going to be a statement game because it's going to be the LeBron AD thing. AD still hasn't signed. So if AD looks at it, it could be the thing. I heard a rumor, even though I think it's BS, that AD, if things falter with the Lakers, he might be looking at the Knicks. That's a game where, look, if the Lakers aren't doing too well, it might be that narrative of, hey, the Knicks are doing well at the time. If they are doing well, AD might be considering, hey, I might make that switch in the summer. I'm not saying we should focus on that.
The narrative might be there.
The narrative. No, right. Narratives. And that's, hey, as long as the Knicks are winning and you're making yourself attractive, those narratives are going to happen. Yeah. Also, I think the Bucks is a big game because, look, Giannis, that Bucks team, I think they're going to take the East. So I look at that as a humongous game for us. And then also the Celtics, because I want to destroy Cantor. Like, this dude Cantor, he's like a troll. I want to see Julius Randle put up another 45 on Cantor so bad.
Why people I don't even care about Cantor, man.
He's corny. It's like Sim. It's like the one dude. All right, put like, you know what Cantor is? He's like the one dude in like high school, right? He said he said a little corny. He's so corny, and he said a joke about you to people that you know of, and it's like. And they laughed at it, but it's like they kind of just laughed at it because they're in the moment. But he's so corny. Like you feel like, damn, I didn't get him back for that. Like you know that you're better than him. You're gonna have a better life than him. Everything in life is looking up. Everything in his life is looking down. But you just gotta just give him a good gill or a good slap in the back of the head, just one more time, just to rub it in. He's corny, like, dude.
Now, I'm gonna tell you one thing. I feel like the NBA threw KP a bone.
They threw KP what with the scheduling?
Yes.
Why? Because it's close to each other, right? I think.
No, because they play Dallas in Dallas first.
Yep.
Right. So what's that do? That gives KP and the coaching staff a chance to, okay, let's figure out how we can make sure KP plays a game in New York.
I think so.
It gives him a chance, though, right? They play in Dallas. Maybe he stinks it up. Who knows? But now, coming back to New York, they have time to figure out, okay, what do we do to make sure KP looks good? That's
right. That's a good point.
And then that one's on national TV, too. The one at the Garden, obviously, because he's coming to the Garden and he used to play with the Knicks. But I feel like they threw him a bone.
That's too conspiracy. Well, you got to make sure, are the Knicks coming back from a road trip at that time? Because usually they try to bunch all those West Coast games together sometimes to kind of get them out the way. So are the Knicks coming from a West Coast game or West Coast trip?
When in November, when the Knicks play in November,
no, they're not. They just go. That's a weird game. They just go over to the Mavericks.
Well, they're at Detroit, and then they go over to Dallas, and then they come back to Cleveland and Chicago.
Yeah, that's a weird schedule.
Then they come home and play Dallas again.
That's weird. But you know what? I disagree with that, Sim, on the conspiratorial side. The reason why is because KP, I don't think that the NBA is sold. Look, KP could be an international star. He can be. But I'm not sure the NBA is truly sold on selling KP as this big star they're trying to, like, artificially amp up, right? So I understand what you're saying is, like, kind of give him, like, the scouting report on the Knicks, allow him to get that one dirty game of where he might be nervous, blah, blah, but is at his home and then come back stronger. But it's like, I don't think they see KP as that guy yet. It's kind of, his career's still kind of in limbo.
But that I get that, right? But wouldn't you want KP to have a good game at Madison Square Garden on TNT or ESPN, whichever it's on. So you give him the best chance possible.
True, but it's KP. It's not LeBron. Let's be honest. I can see a conspiracy. I can see the side, but don't get on me when I got conspiracies, man, about NBA. But I see you on the.
But he's marketable. He's marketable. He's not LeBron, but he's marketable.
He's marketable, but that knee injury and Dallas, right? That's a big experiment, Sim. Like, Doncic is the guy, and maybe they might sell him as a package, but KP getting hurt and the fact that KP is faded at the end of a few seasons, he is now on the same level as, say, Giannis. Giannis is a guy he's superstar type level. KP is possibly top all-star level, maybe international star, but I don't think he's a guy who could carry the league. So I don't know if the league is really looking out for him like that. But
I feel like in this situation, I feel like they look. I'm gonna go to Andy right now, but I feel like in this situation they looked out for him. And Isaiah, don't roll your eyes no more, man. I'll take you out. When I seen when I said I was gonna go to Andy, I seen you roll your eyes and did all that. You know what I'm saying? Rolling your eyes for Andy. What's going on, man?
Yo, I was gonna say, Sam, that I gotta be silent because Isaiah got me unmuted. I don't want to wake him up. He was sleeping like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah. So Andy, what games are you looking forward to, man?
Well, it's mostly the games that you guys were talking about. I was thinking maybe the Nets games, the San Antonio game, of course the Dallas game, also the LA game, but mostly about the schedule when it's pop up. I was trying to look at the the homestand because I was always looking to drop by New York to get a few games live,
right,
and also at the game times. I was looking for the noon games. We don't have a noon game, and those games were awful for us last season.
Yeah.
So I'm happy we don't have those 12 a.m. games. I actually, it's hard to talk about the schedule for me because I don't know how the team is going to pan out. After the few, even the preseason games, we're going to see how the team looks and what games we can actually be happy about and look for. Except, that the media games that, the Dallas ones that they're going to be, with a subtitle and stuff like that. So,
yeah. Andy, do you think the NBA gave KP a pass on that one, man? I feel like they threw him a bone. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. And you know why I think so? I think because it's early in the season. I think he can, blame it on, I'm still rusty, I still am not back and stuff like that. So I think it's really, I was looking at the positioning of the Dallas games. I was thinking it's going to be like around January where the game still means something. And he could be like in a little bit better shape in game wise.
Right. Yeah. I don't care what Guillermo says. I think they threw him a bone, man. They threw that guy a bone. They threw him a bone. Because going back to New York, it's going to be raucous. It's going to be a hectic crowd. It's going to be a fiery environment, and they want KP. It's going to be on national TV. They want KP to perform at his best. So that's my opinion, man. That's what I think. That's what I think they did. All right, Isaiah. See, he's asleep. I'm taking him out. Yo, I mean, you can't be sitting on here asleep. Nobody wants to see you sleeping.
Ain't nobody sleeping, man.
Don't even close your eyes, man. You sitting here sleeping.
I wasn't sleeping. Don't do that to me, man. I wasn't sleeping. I was listening to Andy, man. Andy, got that Morgan Freeman Polish voice.
Look,
I'm just trying to
look. Nobody wants to see you drooling on your pillow. All of that. Nobody wants to see that, man. For real. Nobody wants to see it. So come on.
Hey, listen. What's up, sir? What's up?
One, do you think the NBA threw KP a bone, and what's the games that you want to see?
I was disappointed in that, Sam, when I seen that the Knicks plays so closely to the Mavericks. I thought they should have had a little more hype to the games. because I didn't like that because you don't have the game so close to each other where KP can get into a little rhythm and look good with the Knicks and all that other stuff. I wouldn't like that. I wanted to be fresh. So yeah, I didn't appreciate that. Especially with all this KP crap, and then if God forbid if KP has a great game against the Knicks and MSG, then it's gonna go. Then ESPN the next day. Max, I already know now. Max Kellerman. James Dolan's an idiot for letting KP go, and the Knicks are idiots for letting KP go. That's the first thing he's gonna say, man. And then you're gonna have Stephen A. Smith crying and complaining on TV. Oh, the Knicks should have never did this, and the Knicks should have. Listen, man. I don't want that. I'm over that, man. I'm over KP. He's not on the Knicks no more. Sorry, Mark, if you're watching this. He's not on the Knicks no more. I don't care about that narrative no more. It's over. This dude who claimed he had so much secrets to say about the Knicks never said them. I just don't want that. I just don't want that to go over the Knicks, because I want this season to be about us winning as much games as possible and getting into the playoffs, man. I just don't want that narrative to be pushed if KP has a good game against the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? Right. I mean, I just don't like that, man. I just because I feel like saying this year I think we have a real chance of being drama free. Knock on wood, we have a good chance of being drama free, man. Of all the crap, I don't think we have the right guys in here. That none of them carry drama. All of these guys are professionals, and I just want that to be the season. I don't give a damn if I'll be happy if the Knicks go underrated, man. I was happy that the Knicks only got 3 primetime games. You know what I'm saying? I don't care about them being on TNT, being on ESPN. I don't care about that because listen, I don't care about ESPN because as much time as they whip the Knicks, I don't want them even on ESPN. Yeah. Right,
so tell me some games you're looking forward to, because you're rambling. I don't know where you're going.
Okay, son. Anyways,
I'm just saying. You're rambling. I didn't know where you were going with it. You were just like whatever popped in your mind. You know what I'm saying?
See, this was me and Gim will be talking about this, but we're going to talk about that later.
You're going to talk about what? You're going to talk about what?
Don't worry about it.
I already know. So
it's me and my buddy. I know. Me and my buddy Guillermo.
Well, Grandma said, when you're not here, I tease him. That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. I already know.
Yeah. Anyway, the games I'm most happy to see, man. I put all our rivalry games into one because we got Indiana, Miami, Boston, LA. I'll put those in one pretty much.
Are they really rivalry games anymore? Do we have the only rival right now that I would think that the Knicks have is Brooklyn? It's not even a basketball rival. It's more about the city.
I guess so. I guess we don't really have rivals no more. I guess not. Nobody has rivals no more.
The Knicks not right now because we haven't been in the playoffs. In order to have some rivals, true basketball rivals, you got to be in the playoffs. To me, that's when you start forming rivals, man.
But I agree with Guillermo. I want to see the game. I want to see Cantor get his ass kicked because that dude was just so much antics last year. And I'm sorry, I didn't like it. You know what, man? Listen, man. I want the Knicks to go 3-1 against Brooklyn. I do. I really, really do. I'm gonna be real. I know it's not gonna be a sweep, but I would love for the Knicks to go 3-1 against Brooklyn this year, so we can shut some people up, man. Of course, I want to see the Lakers game. I'm interested to see the Clippers game, even though that might end up being a blowout. But I want to see a Clippers game. I want to see Zion versus RJ.
Yeah, I'm just interested in seeing the Clippers play, man, because they're gonna.
I think they're gonna be so good defensively, man. They're gonna be so good defensively.
Defensive juggernauts, man. And they're gonna be so tough to beat. Because they're so good defensively, it's gonna be crazy.
But I think of course the Brooklyn game is number one. LA Lakers, the Clippers I want to see. I want to see the Pelicans, and you know what? I'm gonna throw a surprise out there. I want to see the Hawks because I think the Hawks have a young nucleus that I like, and I think we're both a young team. I'd love to see the Hawks versus the Knicks. See how those two will play against each other.
Okay.
And that's about it. That's all I want to see this year.
The Hawks.
and the Mavericks. But but the Hawks is like a random like team. I think that would be good for us.
All right. City, I'm coming over to you, man. I know you had some things you wanted to talk about with the schedule, man.
Yeah, yo, I'm burning, man. Yo, so check it, Sim. All right, yo, I'll put it like this, right? I'm gonna get straight into it.
All right.
I look at it like this. I want to see the games, right? I want to see the games against the teams that we lost against. I want to see the games. No, hold on. Feel me out. I want to see the games against like the Bulls. All of the teams, like, all right, so like I said, like the Bulls, the Nets. Of course, everybody want to see that. But I'm talking about the teams that we lost against that we could have beat. Now that we have the talent to get back in the mix, because we lost so many games by what? Maybe less than 8 points, 5 points. We lost so many games by that. So I want to see us come back and beat those lower class teams and get back in the mix of winning basketball, yo. Because if we can't come back and beat those teams that beat us when we didn't have the talent, and now that we do have the talent, bro, that's just it's not good for Knicks basketball. Like, you feel me? Because we coming in there losing games against teams that we lost 5, I said it again, 5, 6, 7, 8 points, and they were not even good teams. They weren't even good teams. They weren't even playoff teams.
And well, you know, some of it was just, in my opinion, the way that it was just the Knicks' strategy for last year. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
I feel that, but we got to come back now. We got to come back and beat those teams and get those wins that could have pushed us to the playoffs. Because if we didn't win those, what was it? I think I can't remember right now. I can't remember, so excuse me. But I think it was like 10 or 12 games that we lost by less than 8 points. If we could win those games right now, and you put those 10 or 12 wins on our team, although we were doing a tank joint, I get it. But if you could put those 10 or 12 on there right now with the talent that we had, right, that would push us to what? Let's just say 10. We had 17 wins last season. That'll push us to 27, right? So take the talent that we got now. If we could win those games and then some, because I'm looking forward to all of those teams that destroyed us. Phoenix destroyed us. I'm looking forward to all of those teams that destroyed us. So that way we can come back and get in the mix. And then, of course, again, I'm going to say I'm rooting for my guy, Elf of Wall Street. Let's get it. Good. Yeah.
I feel you. You know, I mean, we got to beat the teams. If we could just at least beat the teams that we're supposed to beat, and then see what happens from there. My problem
is... This is what I'm saying, man.
My only problem is I don't know what teams we're supposed to beat yet. You feel me? I don't know who we're supposed to beat yet, because I don't know what we're
supposed to beat. The teams like Chicago, Charlotte, Phoenix,
I mean, we say we're supposed to beat those
even
guys.
Memphis, because there were teams that we beat that we shouldn't have beat. We beat the Lakers. We shouldn't have beat them last year. I mean, so come on, we can't even go back and forth with that, because we even I can't remember. Yeah, that's what I was about to say. We even beat Milwaukee. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, who are we really trying to say? Should we beat what? Should we beat this?
we don't have a legitimate center, whether you want to start Mitch or have somebody back him up. Because I feel like once you get to the point of having the Joel Embiids and the Brook Lopez's and the Robin Lopez's and, you know, guys of that nature, you got those guys. Mitch, whether he gets in foul trouble or just needs, you know, a good 5 to 10 minute breather, these guys are going to get cooked. It's going to be barbecue chicken alert for, you know, Portis and Randle and all that stuff. So I'm worried about the fact that we don't have anybody, like I said, either to back up Mitch if you want to start him, or to start somebody in front of Mitch and have Mitch come off the bench and continue to develop that way. So right now, that's one of my biggest concerns as far as our roster right now.
Yeah, and see, me, I feel like Mitch needs a little bit more time coming off the bench. That's my opinion. I know there's a lot of people that disagree with me, you know, and like you said, you know, he's the only pure center on the team and da-da-da. But you know what? A lot of teams go small today. You know what I mean? And are not afraid to play centers that are 6'10", 6'9", 6'10", and can go off the dribble, which is not going to benefit Mitch. You've seen it. If you go back, I did a video where, you know, I did some highlights of Mitch playing, and he got matched up with Kyle Kuzma because Team USA went small. And he was abusing, Kyle Kuzma was abusing Mitch. I don't care what anyone says, he was abusing him. Right? I mean, you know, he went to the basket, bumped him, Mitch fell. Because, you know, Mitch he's a young kid. He's got to get stronger. He throw a pump fake, Mitch is in the air. Either dribble past him and kick, or he threw a pump fake. Mitch got in the air, he passed it, then he cut. Then the guy hit Kyle Kuzma with the cut and he laid it in. You know, a lot of teams are going to go small that way. And you know, how many centers are, you know, pounded out centers, right? So I know a lot of people say, well, you know, they'll say, well, that benefits Mitch. But that also benefits a team like us that doesn't have a pure center, because if they're not a pounded out type of center, right, and they'll take it outside, you got Joel Embiid. You know, maybe there's maybe Jokic or somebody who can score in the post. These other guys don't score in the post that much. You know, they take
because you still got like Gasol. I mean, more of those guys are in the Western Conference, which is a benefit to us in that regard. Because if you look at, you know, as far as Gasol's the only one that's still in the East, but you still got right now Whiteside, who got traded to Portland, but Nurkic will come back, and you know that's already 2 guys that play the post. I'm looking at even our rivals across the river. You know, we got both Jared Allen and DeAndre Jordan, who are inside guys. So there's no floor spacing involved for them, which means that that's where they do their work. That's where they do the most damage, going inside, you know. Embiid, of course, Karl Anthony Towns, who should be playing in the post, who showed that, you know, again, like last season, if you play him in the post, he can be more effective in that regard. He can, you know, up his game. Whether he stays in the post, again, that's one of them situations where, you know, you look at the system and you look at the player's mentality. But you're right, there's not a lot of true centers in the league. But, you know, again, I worry about, again, that interior defense. I'd hate for it to be where we're collapsing so much of that on Mitch that it ends up putting him in a position where, again, he gets in foul trouble because he is the anchor of that interior defense, and we have nobody else.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you because, you know, this is my whole thing. The reason why I would bring Mitch off the bench, because even when you do find some guys that can pound it down low, Mitch is still not that big, strong guy that's going to be able to, you know, really handle that type of abuse without getting into foul trouble. You know,
I completely agree with that. So that's exactly what I was going to say. I don't think he has the body yet to be a guy that could play 30 minutes at that position and not get in foul trouble. That's what I worry about with Mitch. And that's why I'd be completely fine with him coming off the bench. He's shown it throughout his career so far Be it that it's only 1 year. But that's what I worry about with him. I worry about him getting in foul trouble.
Now I want to talk about this Mitch thing because right now I feel like you have an agenda also with Mitch. That's what we was talking about in the chat.
An agenda.
You talking about we was talking about.
Tell me what
you
my
talk
agenda
about
is
him not
with Mitch.
starting. RJ shouldn't start then. What did he prove? What did he prove? RJ shouldn't start.
Hold up. But see, this has been my whole thing ever. All I said is that he's got to earn his spot. And I said the reasons why.
Show you why he didn't earn the spot at center. There's no one else that can play defense better than him on his team. Seriously. Listen. I have no, just because I don't agree with you or because I don't agree with. It's the right thing to do.
Hold up. Or because I don't agree with what everybody else agree with doesn't mean I have an agenda against Mitch. I want to see the kid develop and be the best player that he could be. I am a New York Knicks fan. Why would I want him to not be good? I like Mitchell Robinson. I am a fan of Mitchell Robinson's. But because I have an opinion that disagrees with you, I have an agenda against him? Come on, man.
Well, listen. I didn't want to get all deep into that. I'm just saying that the kid needs to start in minutes so he can get rid of those bad habits. Once he gets those little minutes.
Does it matter though, Mark?
No,
if he starts or comes off the bench?
It does. It's a different confidence level because if he plays off the bench, right? He's gonna have the reckless abandonment to cause foul because he knows he's gonna go right back to the bench. Now, when he's starting in the beginning of the games, he's gonna learn the game a little more faster than what he has to do in the beginning of the game to impact the game from the beginning to the end. So if he gets to play 5 minutes at the beginning of the first quarter, it's good for his development. It's just good for his development.
Or when he gets into the game and he knows he's not starting because he's constantly fouling. If that's the case, maybe he learns not to foul so he can become a starter if it's that important to him. It could work either way. Listen,
you cannot keep a kid with that type of motor from there's no way Bobby Portis is starting over there. There is no way a coach that would see Mitchell Robinson and have Bobby Portis and say Bobby Portis is going to start over Mitch with that type of motor and that defensive prowess.
I think
he can guard the perimeter.
I think he's going to start.
I mean, he might start. I don't think it's going to be because they look and just say, oh, he just has all this great. He's this already. I mean,
we're not looking for Mitch to play 30 minutes, but I'm looking for him to start the game.
I don't. So
it can set So it can set the defense correctly. Because remember, last year they said that he was a leader when it came to that.
Okay.
We all forgot about that.
I know, but he's not. But he's not going to be.
For the kid's development.
I mean, that's cool. He was a leader when it came to that because we had no leaders on the team. But this year it's a little bit different. You got Marcus Morris. You got Taj Gibson. You got guys that's been there and knows how to be a leader.
Yeah, but Taj is not a starter anymore. He's 34 years old, bro.
I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking. The leaders don't have to be starters.
But I'm just saying, you saying that like those guys should because they're veterans that they're gonna start.
What I'm saying is, Mitchell Robinson was that kind of a leader last year. It may be a little bit. You have a totally different team this year. Totally different players. We had no veterans the caliber of Taj Gibson, the caliber of Marcus Morris, who can not only be a leader in the locker room, but can also play and is going to give you some productive minutes on the floor and be a leader on the floor. That's going to be able to sit in the huddle, and really be able to help be a coach.
Hold on.
As well as on the
floor. For him to come in his first year and command people on defense, that already showed me enough. For him to come to do that means that players have respect for him when it comes to what he does best as of right now.
Right. But how many players from that team is going to be on his team?
Probably like one, I think. Is it one?
How many players from last year? Knox, Dennis Smith Jr., Frank Ntilikina, Alonzo Trier, Damian Dotson.
Okay.
Right? Frank Ntilikina, Damian Dotson, Alonzo Trier, their minutes might be limited. So now you're talking about Kevin Knox and you're talking about Dennis Smith Jr. So you're talking about a total different group that's going to be playing on the floor than what was on the floor last year. So yeah, he came in with a group and maybe he was a vocal leader in the second half of the season. right? He was a vocal leader when DeAndre Jordan came in and helped him out and blah, 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 blah. Right? But now
he got invited to the Olympics practice team.
Okay.
That already tells you enough.
There's a lot of players that happens to.
No. It's selective few, bro. For him in his first year to arrive in there for that, no. That don't happen.
Listen,
Rookies don't. No.
That's great. Listen, that's beautiful. That is a beautiful thing.
You don't rupture that. You start that kid and let him fail at the start.
Mark,
put him to the bench.
I think he's going to start, but I don't think it matters. If he gets 25, 30 minutes, I can care less if he comes off the bench or not.
That's the jam.